Presented by the 2018 Honda Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
And welcome to a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Boston, the third game of 4 between the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. Red Sox winning Thursday night, the Blue Jays with a big 13-7 win over the Red Sox last night as they really broke out. Justin Smoak with a couple of home runs. Kevin Pillar had 4 hits, and the offense has not been the problem on the road trip. They're not getting enough from the starting pitching. That's been the problem, but the guys are swinging the bats right now.
They sure are, Dan, and you look at the hits per game, 10.25 hits per game, 7 runs per game. That's plenty to win games, but you're right, they're just not getting enough stops from the starting pitchers, and the average is 279, pretty good, but obviously the hottest guy is Justin Smoak, and today he'll hit against the left-hander Eduardo Rodriguez, who's had a great first half to his season.
And a look at the lineup for the Blue Jays this afternoon. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. will lead off for just the second time in his big league career. Did it in one of the games May the 3rd in Cleveland, one of the doubleheader games. Justin Smoak, you know how hot he's been. Not only a 7-game hitting streak, he's got at least 1 extra base hit in each of those 7 games. And then Kevin Pillar, that great game we mentioned last night, 4 hits, couple of doubles, drove in 4. Big offensive night for the Blue Jays in the win last night.
Well, the offense is going to have to be on their game because the starter for the Boston Red Sox, Eduardo Rodriguez, is really throwing the ball well. He's got a 13 2/3 inning scoreless streak. It started on the 29th of June against the Yankees. His last 2 starts at Washington against the Nationals and against the Texas Rangers right here. He's combined to go at 11 2/3, allowing just 6 hits and no runs. He's been tough on the Blue Jays in the past. He's 2-0 this season. This will be his 3rd start of the season against the Blue Jays, and traditionally they have their problems facing left-handed starters. Defensively behind Rodriguez in the outfield, it's J.D. Martinez back in left field and Jackie Bradley Jr. is in center. Blake Swihart starting at first base, just his 3rd start of the season. He is a catcher by trade. You can see he's pulling out his defensive cheat sheet, reminding himself where he needs to play these Blue Jay hitters, but he gets the start here today against the Blue Jays, and you bet he's going to have his head in the dugout making sure he's standing in the right spot all afternoon.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr. as mentioned, the leadoff man for the Blue Jays today, hitting .255 on the season with the Jays, and underway here at Fenway with a pitch outside for ball 1. Gurriel at second base today. Aledmus Diaz back into the lineup at short. Devin Travis is on the bench heading into the start of this game. Gurriel with 2 hits in 3 consecutive games. He's 6 for 13 in those 3 games. And he was out early today, Buck, taking ground balls at second. You said he looks a little bit more comfortable, especially throwing at short, than he does at second. He was working on ground balls and that little backhand flip to second to start a double play. And then he was playing second as if he were in the shift and making a longer throw to second base. And I guess because they didn't want to wear him out too quickly, they had another infielder out there taking ground balls at the same time. His name is Marcus Stroman, and he was working on the double play pivot and so on.
Yeah, Marcus likes to take ground balls to keep his hands sharp for sure. Well, Gurriel at second, he has problems with the routine throw. You know, it's a different throw, and he is working hard. And here's that work earlier with Luis Rivera. Rivera is really working hard with Gurriel and all of his infielders. But he thinks more of the problem is with his feet, not so much with his arm.
And he's got a base hit to start the ball game. Now 7 for his last 14. And we can hear right off the bat, once again, there are a lot of Blue Jay fans here at Fenway Park this afternoon.
Yeah, and they're becoming huge Gurriel fans for sure. He stays on this pitch outside, and we know he can cover everything. Watch the pitch away. Might have been off the plate outside, but he stays on it and drills it into center field. He can hit, and I don't care where you put him in the lineup. He's going to have good swings in every at-bat.
So the leadoff man aboard for the Blue Jays, and that'll bring up Yangervis Solarte, who's got a home run off Eduardo Rodriguez this year. Did that back at Rogers Center on April 25th. He sends the ball down the right field line, but foul out of play. Solarte at third base today, 248, 16 homers, and 48 driven in. Middle infielders pretty much straight away against Solarte. They're at double play depth. Outfielders are straight away as well. Well, just the third consecutive perfect day for baseball here in Boston. Day game again tomorrow to wrap up not the first half of the season, but the part of the season before the All-Star break. Jay Happ will be on his way down to Washington for the All-Star game on Tuesday. And the Blue Jays will be back home to open it up after that. Now Holt, the second baseman, moves more up the middle. A bigger hole now on the right side, as this one is pulled foul. 1 ball 2 strikes.
You know, if you're a hitter and you watch the middle infielders, they can pretty much tell you what they're going to do. And right there, that was a giveaway. Holt moved early and he moved to the pulled side of the field, and sure enough, the pitch was inside to Solarte. So as a hitter, you just have to be aware if there's unusual movement just before the pitcher delivers, you could be pretty much assured that that's where they're going to throw you. And that pitch was inside. He just pulled it foul.
Now Holt stays where he is now, again basically up the middle. A long look at Gurriel, and the 1-2 fouled off by Solarte. Last night was the 5th time this season the Blue Jays had scored at least 13 runs in a game. It's also just the 3rd time this year that any team has won a game when they've committed 4 errors in a game. The Blue Jays committed 3 of them in 1 inning, and all 4 in the first 2 innings. The Yankees have done it twice, and now the Blue Jays last night. You don't want to make a habit of that. And there's strike 3 call.
Yeah, Rodriguez gets that right on the outside corner. Eduardo Rodriguez is just 25 years old. He came to the Red Sox back in 2014 in a trade for Andrew Miller, the big reliever. But he's going to give you a fair share of fastballs. He'll come at you 51% of the time. He's going to throw the heater. He throws a changeup, cutter, and a slider. That last fastball caught the outside corner. Not going to really light you up with velocity, 93, maybe 94 from time to time. But he's just 25 years old, and he's had to battle some serious injuries.
And a lot of knee trouble for Rodriguez the last couple of years. Teoscar Hernandez is back in the lineup for the Blue Jays this afternoon. After sitting out last night's game with some soreness in his heel. John Gibbons saying before the game today he dealt with it earlier in the season as well. Just the kind of thing that can come and go a little bit. But he's fine to be back in there this afternoon. And 1 ball 1 strike the count. And Hernandez, like Solarte, has a home run off Eduardo Rodriguez this year. That happened in this ballpark on May the 30th.
Yeah, it tied it up. It was a 2-run home run at the time. That made it a 2-2 game, a 6th inning home run for Teoscar.
Gurriel at first, 1 down. We're just underway at Fenway. And outside, says the home plate umpire Mike Malinsky. 2 balls and a strike now on Hernandez. One thing with Rodriguez is he can get the pitch count up there. He's a very good pitcher, but he's got a lot of starts of like 5 2/3, 108 pitches. He doesn't get as deep into the game as they would like.
Yeah, and I think he's going to learn how to be more economical as he gains more experience. This is just his 84th career start. He is a winning pitcher this year. He's 11-3, as we mentioned top of the show. This is his 19th start, but I think the more he starts, the more he'll understand being economical will allow yourself to pitch deeper into ball games.
And a swing and a miss, a full count on Hernandez. Not that quality starts is a great stat, but you'd figure a guy who's 11-3 with the ERA that he's got 3.62. In 18 starts, he's only had 6 quality starts. He's just not getting to the 6 innings and beyond mark very often. You see a lot of 5 2/3, 2 runs, 5 2/3, 2 runs over and over and over again. Runner not going, and a swing and a miss by Hernandez for the 2nd out.
Back-to-back strikeouts. His season high in strikeouts is 10. That happened way back in May. He had 10 strikeouts in 6 innings at Texas against the Rangers, and another pitch on the outside part of the plate. He locates that fastball very well. You can see a 4-seam fastball, and he just dots the eye on the outside corner and strikes out Hernandez.
Now Rodriguez will face the hottest hitter the Blue Jays had in Justin Smoak, at a home run from each side of the plate in last night's game. It is the 10th time that a Blue Jay has homered from both sides of the plate. It is the second time that Justin Smoak has done it. And again, as we mentioned last night, he's on a great extra base hit run right now. 7 consecutive games, the longest such streak for a Blue Jay since Edwin Encarnacion had an extra base hit in 9 consecutive games in 2015. Little weak ground ball. This might be trouble, but Holt still gets there in time to get Smoak. And that's all for the Blue Jays in the top of the first. The leadoff base hit by Gurriel, but nothing more, and Sam Gaviglio will take the mound when we come back. The highest scoring team in baseball. A look at the lineup that Alex Cora puts out there this afternoon. Beginning with the leadoff man, Mookie Betts, who is doing it all right now. He's got 2 triples and a homer already in this series, and that .357 batting average is the best in Major League Baseball by a wide margin. Xander Bogaerts hitting cleanup again, and he's hot as well.
Sam Gaviglio starting on short rest as he made that start in Atlanta. Now they've been going to have to lean on him to start this game. This will be his 13th appearance of the season. Gaviglio is making his 4th appearance against the Red Sox, 2nd start against Boston. He started here at Fenway back on the 30th of May, and he had a decent outing, but the long ball got him. J.D. Martinez hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 6th. Eduardo Nunez also homered off Gaviglio.
Ready to go. And the first pitch to Mookie Betts down and away for ball 1. Buck mentioned 4th appearance for Gaviglio against the Red Sox. A couple of relief outings. Sam's first 2 appearances for the Blue Jays, May 11th and 13th. They went well. Well, baseball players are creatures of habit, about as any group of people you'll ever meet. And starting pitchers are probably creatures of habit even more than your average baseball player. But here is Gaviglio on 2 days rest after that abbreviated start in Atlanta, because the Blue Jays have a need. Got a hole in the rotation right now, so he takes the ball. Again, Chris Rowley, if you weren't with us earlier, is back in the big leagues and on the roster today, so he is available in long relief if needed. Ryan Borucki optioned down to the minor leagues, but the plan is to bring him back for the 5th game after the All-Star break. He can stay down 10 days, which is the minimum, then come back up. As you get a look at Rowley, who has joined the Blue Jays today. Jaime Garcia is here, but he is not on the roster, but it's very possible that he gets activated tomorrow. And Betts is at it again. Lines the ball to left center. Big turn. Hernandez, a good job and a terrific throw, getting the ball back into second base to hold Betts to a single.
Yeah, Mookie Betts had second on his mind the moment he hit that ball. The ball was in the alley. Teoscar did a nice job to get over and cut it off. Mookie Betts hit a leadoff triple in last night's game, and here he's thinking about going to second, but Teoscar throws a strike to second. Betts had really made a big turn around first. He was looking to go to second, but he came up, saw the throw, and headed back safely to first.
So he's now 6 for 9 in the series. And again, he's a threat to runs. 16 steals and 18 tries this year. So Luke Maile and Sam Gaviglio both will have to be aware of that.
The Red Sox have the highest stolen base percentage in baseball.
Rockhold the batter. And a roller to short. Diaz, a little shovel on to Gurriel and back to first for the double play.
That's a good example of Gurriel and how he can really turn it loose. He's got a strong arm, but the throw from second, especially on the double play, is different. Watch how he really short arms it, but gets a lot on the throw. Nice feed. He unloads in a hurry, and as I mentioned, he's got good arm strength. So he can flip-flop from both sides of second base, shortstop or second, and then he's becoming more comfortable with each game he plays at second base.
I'll tell you, Mookie Betts was getting down on his way to second. He wanted nothing to do with that throw that was coming back from Gurriel. Nicely turned 6-4-3 double play. And the batter JD Martinez, who takes a strike right at the knees.
Here's what Mookie Betts sees from his perspective. He says, you know what, I don't want anything to do with that Gurriel arm.
I mean, Betts runs well, Holt runs well, and that double play was turned easily before either one of them was close to getting where they were trying to go.
I tell you what, Gurriel, Diaz, and Morales, they are like the Three Musketeers. They are out first every day. They work hard on their defense, and they take a lot of pride in representing themselves on the field.
Martinez chases a ball down and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. See that two-seam action on the fastball from Gaviglio. Doesn't throw it hard, 87-88, but if he can start it on the inside corner, run it down and in, he can have success with it. You talked about how the Blue Jays feel there's success to be had up in the zone against JD Martinez, and even a guy like Gaviglio throwing 88. Maile wanted that ball up.
Yeah, he sure did, and it looked like he made a pretty good pitch with it. But Pete Walker, he goes over all the analytical breakdowns of these opposing hitters, and he has recognized there are a lot of outs up in the zone. Everybody is focused on launch angle, hitting the ball in the air, hitting the ball over the shift. So Pete's trying to encourage his pitchers and also encourage the minor league pitchers to start to pitch up a little more. Gaviglio doesn't throw a lot of four-seam fastballs, but still that pitch upstairs is very valuable to everybody.
Ground ball to second. Another opportunity for Gurriel, and that's all for the Red Sox. A good start here in the bottom of the first for Sam Gaviglio.
Rogers Center. The next one is coming up after the All-Star break, July 21st and 22nd, presented by Boston Pizza. Both games 1:07 p.m. starts. That's when the Orioles come to town. You can join pregame outside gates 5 and 10 for inflatables, activities, and a lot of fun. And as always, after the game, kids 14 and under can run the bases just like the pros. BlueJays.com for tickets. Dan?
Arash, thank you. No score going to the top of the second, and a big swing and a miss by Kendrys Morales, who is the DH today after playing first base last night. Had a good night last night, had an RBI double, walked 3 times, scored a couple of runs, 1 for 3 overall, also a ground out and a strikeout as he continues to swing a good bat and be a presence in the middle of that Blue Jay lineup, which has been now for about the last 6-7 weeks. And he's going to drop one into left center field. That'll be a leadoff base hit. Second inning in a row, the Blue Jays have the leadoff man on.
Well, Morales has really done a nice job of continuing to work hard, and he got off to such a bad start to his season, but he never lost his confidence. And you know, when you have the experience of Morales, you know that you're going to hit sooner or later. It doesn't always happen when you want it to, but he's swinging the bat, and he's not missing many fastballs as a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter. He's just about as hot as smoke right now, but doesn't have the same power at the moment.
Here's a guy who got hot last night, that's for sure. Kevin Pillar, 4 for 5, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs. Raising the average 8 points on the night up to 248. Mostly night games around the majors today. Not a lot going on here in the early afternoon. Red Sox fans are trying to keep an eye on the Yankees. They play later tonight. They play the Indians. Yankees lost last night. Red Sox lost last night. Only the 6th time this season the Yankees and Red Sox lost on the same day.
Yeah, they've been going back and forth and flip-flopping first and second. Now the Red Sox have a 3.5 game lead in the division. CC Sabathia starts tonight for New York against Mike Clevenger.
One ball, 2 strikes, the count on Pillar. Swihart playing off the bag, standing in front of Morales, the base runner. And now Rodriguez will step off. The Red Sox have been trying to get Rodriguez, or E-Rod as he is known here in Boston, to work at a quicker pace. And from what I gather, that's a work in progress. It's not really going all that well right now, but he's not the only slow worker in baseball. It's tough to make a slow worker a fast worker. It really seems like guys are kind of set in their ways. David Price is another example.
Yeah, David Price is very, very deliberate in his pitching, but you know, I just think it's so advantageous for a pitcher to work quickly, because when the infielders are standing and they get on their heels and they wait for the pitcher to throw, you're not going to get the crisp defense consistently from them.
Ground ball down to third, to second one, and no throw back to first. As Lynn feeds Holt for the putout on Morales, Pillar reaches on the fielder's choice.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting as Holt came across the bag. I don't know if he didn't have a good grip on it, but Pillar was busting it out of the box, and he's going to make it close at first. Keep an eye on Holt at second base here. Once he gets the ball, he comes across the base, and I don't know that he had a good grip on the baseball. I think he probably felt like, you know what, if I throw this, I'm going to throw it away, because he didn't have a real good grip on it. You can see how he was kind of bobbling the ball. It came out of his glove.
So the Blue Jays will take the break, and they'll take the exchange in base runner with Morales now back in the dugout and Pillar at first base. Randall Grichuk is the batter. Back in right field today, hitting 199 with 11 homers on the season. And he hits the ball hard to left field, and it's going to be high off the green monster. Pillar is on his way to third. Grichuk is digging for second and is safe on a very close play. Boy, when you hit the ball that hard off the wall here in Boston, anything can happen on the way to second base. And Grichuk apparently just sliding in ahead of the throw.
You cannot take anything for granted when that ball is going to go high off the great monster. You better be hustling out of the batter's box. JD Martinez, making just his 27th start in left field, makes a strong throw to second. Grichuk with a good straight leg slide right into the base. Second base umpire, boy, he has got the best position you could ask for. Trip Gibson was all over it, and it looked like Grichuk beat the tag into second base. Look at the umpire. You know, we criticize umpires an awful lot, and they are scrutinized every day. But Trip Gibson He couldn't have been in a better spot to make that call.
The Red Sox want to have a look. So they've gotten something from their video room that says, hey, this might be something you can overturn. The crowd has seen it a couple of times here on the scoreboard at Fenway.
Big crowd at second watching.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys? Am I safe? Watch the foot. I think the foot hits the base before the tag.
Yes.
Really close.
Does he come? Ooh, there.
See, now that's the
Does
one
he
I
come
hate.
off the base?
Yeah. I don't think this is right. I don't think it should be part of the review. He beat the tag in initially. Those bases are very hard rubber, and you could see it give when he hit the base with his spike. And then when it repels, it pushed his foot off the base, and momentarily he lost contact with the bag.
When you played, did runners ever worry about their foot popping off the base?
Never.
Is that a conversation that was
No.
ever had?
No, but you can see how his foot pops in the air there.
Yeah.
Holt continues to put the tag on him, and if you look at the video and take it for what it's worth, he shouldn't be called out.
You could see he tried to keep his toe down on the base. You could see the way his foot, his ankle was bending, that he was doing what he could to keep it down to the base. But you're going in there so fast with so much force, it's hard to do.
Yeah, these bases are molded rubber, and they have a steel spike in the middle of it that goes into a hole in the ground. That's and they call him out. You see, I don't agree with that. I just think that if the runner beats the tag initially, he should not be penalized for coming off the base in that fashion. Yeah, if he overslides the base and he loses contact, that's one thing.
So the call is overturned, and now there's a runner at third and 2 down for the Blue Jays. And the batter is Aledmus Diaz.
I think this is a good matchup for Diaz. He's a very good fastball hitter, and Rodriguez doesn't have that real slow, nasty breaking ball.
And the scoring on the Grichuk play, by the way, is still a single and out trying to stretch it into a double, even though he got there and beat the throw. It's still a single and out trying to stretch it. That's a ball. The ball Grichuk hit is a home run in 29 out of 30 major league
Yeah,
ballparks.
we talked about that in relationship to a base hit last night. J.D. Martinez had went up there, and you know, everybody says, well, you know, it's an easy park to hit in. It takes a lot of extra base hits away from hitters. Line drive, and this Gray Monster is 37 feet high, and that ball is about 6 feet below the top of the fence, and that ball's going to go another 35-40 feet for sure. But the home run that Smoke hit last night as a right-handed batter went into the first row, and maybe it's playable in other ballparks.
Absolutely, yeah.
It gives and it takes away.
Blue Jays looking for a clutch 2-out base hit here from Aledmus Diaz. And they're not going to get it. Rodriguez with his third strikeout of the afternoon. The overturned call hurts the Blue Jays, and it is still scoreless.
The tear that he's been on over the last week. a 7-game hit streak, 12 knocks in that span, 7 extra base hits along the way, and 5 home runs over that stretch. Now, Smoke says he has been more aggressive of late, which had disappeared for a bit in June, where he noticed that he had been passive in the box. While Smoke identified as much on video, he also knew it at the plate too. He said on a number of occasions he either was getting in between or had the feeling of, I got one there and didn't pull the trigger. Smoke now has an idea of how his swing has to work and what he has to do. With him, it's about balance, timing, and of course, intent to swing the bat. And during this hot streak, Smoke says his mindset has been simple. Get the feeling you want to have in the cage or in BP and stick to that approach. Dan?
Arash, thank you. You've talked about it, Buck, over the last couple of days. He is putting himself in a good position to do damage when he sees a fastball that he likes.
Yeah, he sure is. And that's what Bert Jacoby always wants his hitters to do. Is, listen, the best pitch to hit is a fastball, so get ready for the fastball. The breaking balls, when they're good ones, you're not going to hit them. You're going to hit mistake breaking balls and get on the fastball. That's the best way to hit.
No score going to the bottom of the second. Sam Gaviglio to face Xander Bogaerts. The Red Sox shortstop hitting .282, 14 homers, 58 RBIs. That slugging percentage, we talked about it on Thursday night, is up more than 100 points from last year. Alex Cora said to Bogaerts before the season, he said, I know you can hit 300, but I'd rather you hit .280 and do a lot of damage. And if it, apparently for Bogaerts, it's that easy to make that kind of a change because he's hitting .282 and he's doing a lot of damage.
Well, it's nice to get that kind of freedom from your manager when you think, okay, what's he want me to do? He wants me to drive the ball. He's going to put me in RBI situations. He did the same thing Cora did with Mookie Betts. He went to Mookie Betts in the offseason. One of the first times they had a conversation, he said, I want you to be ready to start the game with an impact hit. And we have seen that firsthand here in this series. But these two guys, and you know, it's just this core of good, young, talented players that Boston has. It's going to keep them good and relevant for a long time.
Bogaerts, Betts, Benintendi, all coming to the majors in the last few years. And there's strike 3 called. Gaviglio gets a call on the outside corner for his first strikeout of the game.
Well, Gaviglio is not going to shy away from the strike zone, and he'll have some trouble because his ball moves a lot, but his entire mindset is to pound the strike zone with fastballs, and he gets Bogaerts looking right here. That looked like it might have been a four-seamer that was a little bit up in the zone. He was trying to go down, but you could see it's upstairs, and I don't know that that was a two-seamer. He doesn't throw a lot of four-seamers, but he's trying to be encouraged. That's another aspect of his game he wants to improve upon.
Here's Jackie Bradley Jr. all the way up to the 5 spot in the lineup today. Remember, Andrew Benintendi's not here. He's on the bereavement list right now. Mitch Moreland is getting a day off. Steve Pearce out of the starting lineup again. The sore leg after he was hit by a Jay Happ pitch a couple of days ago. So it's kind of a different looking Red Sox lineup this afternoon.
Yeah, and Jackie Bradley Jr. is 6 for his last 17 over his last 5 games, so he gets promotion.
Gaviglio takes something off, 1-2.
You know, there's been so much made about this start for Gaviglio. He started on Wednesday in Atlanta. That didn't go well. He got knocked out in the game, and they've asked him to start here. It's always been something that, you know, everybody says, well, he needs more rest, he needs more time. And Gaviglio facing Jackie Bradley Jr., you see that he is a pull hitter. He's going to pull most of the balls on the right side of the infield.
A swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Gaviglio.
Again, Gaviglio took something off the pitch a little bit and had Bradley out in front. First 2 strikeouts in the ball game here in the second inning. Watch the balance. He is already spent. He is out on that front foot, and might have been an off-speed pitch that he is fooled by and gets ahead of himself there.
2 down, a back-to-back strikeouts. Here's Eduardo Nunez. The third baseman for the Red Sox hit a home run off Gaviglio back on May the 30th, hitting .258 overall on the season.
He had an 0-1 pitch out of the ballpark on that last appearance, and here he gets a base hit.
Second hit of the afternoon for the Red Sox, a 2-out single for Nunez. And that'll bring up Blake Swihart, who's the first baseman today. Again, a guy who's going to do a little bit more catching. I would imagine we'd see him catching tomorrow. I thought we might see him behind the plate today, just kind of the old day game after the night game, give Sandy Leon a break, but it sounds like Swihart might catch tomorrow. He's more familiar with Brian Johnson, who's expected to be the starting pitcher for the Red Sox tomorrow.
Yeah, and both Swihart and Sandy Leon are switch hitters, so it really doesn't make any difference which day they catch. But I'm with you. I think we'll see him catch tomorrow. Even though they are going into the All-Star break, I think you got to get him back there and keep him relevant as a catcher, just in case something should happen to Sandy Leon. Christian Vasquez is not going to be available probably for 2 months. But I started to mention about Gaviglio pitching on short rest, and I thought, you know, it used to happen a little bit more than this, and it's an exceptional example. But I went back to the '65 World Series. Sandy Koufax pitching for the Dodgers during the regular season had thrown 335 2/3 innings in the regular season. Then he made 3 starts in the World Series: Game 2, Game 5, and Game 7. In Game 5, he threw 9 innings. In Game 7, he threw 9 innings. It was a different time indeed.
Gee, I can't understand why he had to retire a year later with elbow trouble.
But he was something else, and you know what? He just didn't want to push himself. He could have been Tommy John. They had suggested that he was going to have elbow surgery. He said, you know what? I've had a good career. I'm satisfied with where I'm at, and I'm not going to take a chance on that elbow surgery. So it could have been the Sandy Koufax surgery instead of the Tommy John surgery.
And a strike. 2-2 now on Swihart. But with Marco Estrada not being ready to make a start before the All-Star break, this game was kind of a hole for the Blue Jays. And not that you want to see Gaviglio get knocked out early on a Wednesday, but the fact that he was knocked out early on Wednesday, didn't throw that many pitches, allows him to come back. And I don't think they're expecting 100 pitches from him today. That's why Chris Rowley is on the roster. The runner goes, and the pitch is popped up. Solarte at third is there, and that's all for the Red Sox. Nothing but a 2-out single for Nunez. Gaviglio doing well, no score through 2.
Who will claim the Home Run Derby crown and who grabs bragging rights in the All-Star game? Check it all out Monday and Tuesday from Washington, D.C. on Sportsnet.
All right, Arash, thank you. And I wonder if Jay Happ will get into the game. Not every pitcher gets into the game. They always hold a couple back in case the game goes to extra innings. Obviously, he's set up to be available based on when his last start was, so that's not an issue. But we'll see how it works out, what A.J. Hinch, the American League manager, is thinking.
Yeah, I think the managers take special consideration for guys not only playing in their first one, but guys like Jay Happ, that's toward the end of his career,
Yep.
gets an opportunity. I bet you he pitches in the game. He is highly regarded and highly respected all around baseball. A.J. Hinch and Dave Roberts will be the respective managers of the two teams.
By virtue of competing in the World Series against one another last year. Luke Maile drives the ball to right center field. Bradley racing over, and it is caught by Mookie Betts, crossing in front of Bradley as they narrowly avoid a collision, and Maile is retired.
Well, this is a great outfit. We talked about it with Jackie Bradley, the anchor in center field, but he sensed where Mookie Betts was. Bradley was going after this full speed, and watch how he peels out of the way to give Mookie Betts plenty of room. That's great communication, and they have played a lot together, and they both have tremendous speed. But that's a great example of how the communication aspects can be made on the fly, and they execute it perfectly.
So one down here in the top of the third. And the batter, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. back to the top of the order, had a base hit his first time up, making him 5 for 10 in the series, 7 for 14 in his last 4 games.
You know what Gurriel's success recently suggests, given where he started this season? He started in Double-A, and he gets called out on that good pitch. Inside fastball gets him, but I think the Blue Jays are pretty encouraged about what the future looks like when you see Gurriel's success, and then you've got Guerrero and Biggio and Bagwell coming. I think it's bodes well for the future. There's that fastball right on the hands on the inside corner.
And again, he's in a different situation than Guerrero, Bichette, Biggio, because he was signed to a major league contract, so there are no concerns about service time or anything like that. Nice pick at third by Tsu-Wei Lin. Solarte is retired, and the Blue Jays go in order in the top of the third. Still no score here at Fenway. Madani with you, and a look at what Sam Gaviglio brings to the table.
He throws a lot of fastballs. Most of them are two-seam fastballs, and once in a while that'll break over the plate a little bit too much, and because of that they're hitting over 300 against his fastball. But his slider is a wipeout slider. It starts on the plate, breaks down and away from right-hand hitters, and it can go under the bats of the lefties. Changeup 167. Curveball's getting hit a little bit, but it didn't throw too many curveballs. It's going to be fastball slider the majority of the time, and he's starting to use that split changeup a little more effectively.
Sandy León, the Red Sox catcher, leads off the bottom of the third, hitting .239 on the season. He'll be followed by Tsu-Wei Lin, the third baseman, then back to the top of the order for Mookie Betts.
There's a curveball. Yep, he dropped it on the outside corner.
Infielders playing Leon slightly to pull. Outfielders basically straight away. Change up in the dirt, and Gaviglio falls behind 2 balls and a strike. As unique an outfield as there is in baseball, with the monster and the way the wall moves away from the pole in right field, the triangle in right center. This is not a cookie cutter, that's for sure.
No, it's not, and obviously it was built a long time ago, and they had to yield to the street configurations. So it's an odd-shaped outfield for sure, but boy, it's fun. There are so many great plays made in this ballpark. Outfield and right is deep, and that fence beyond the foul pole curves away from the infield. It's about 385 to the bullpens in right field, and then drops off to 420 in that triangle in deep center field. But for the athletic outfitters like Pilar and Jackie Bradley Jr., this is a great place to play.
So many angles. The ball can come off different parts of the outfield fence at such different angles. A high fly ball to right field. Grichuk started back, now coming in, and he makes the catch as we check in with Jamie Campbell. All right, Jamie, thank you. Gaviglio's gotten 7 outs today. He has been sharp. He's thrown 35 pitches, has a double play behind him, no scores. He faces Tsu-Wei Lin, the third baseman who was called up. Good fielding infielder, was called up a couple of days ago. Rafael Devers going on the DL with left shoulder inflammation.
Lynn did a nice job for the Red Sox last year, filling in at shortstop when Bogaerts was hurt. He played in 25 games last season. He is from Taiwan. He's 24 years old.
That's a foul ball. Meanwhile, Buck out of the bullpen. Aaron Loup still got a sweatshirt on. He's not on the mound. This may be just to speculate. Hey, have Aaron Loup throw and tell us how you're feeling. Tell us if you're in play today. Now, Loup only threw 1 pitch yesterday. We know that, but he's thrown 3 of the last 4 days. I mean, he might just be playing catch, but they might be trying to find out if Loup is available today, because again, Gaviglio's on short rest, and they might have to get a little creative this afternoon.
Yeah, and you know what? You generally go out and throw earlier before you get down the bullpen, but he was testing that arm. There's no question about it. He was up throwing, just playing a little catch, and sometimes, you know, guys will be a little more stiff than regular days. They said, hey, let me get loose, let me play catch a little bit, see how I feel.
Arden Zwelling reported on the pregame show today. That a couple of relievers are down. That Axford, who's pitched 3 days in a row, he's not going to be available to pitch. You wouldn't think Xianwan Oh can pitch, and Arden reported that Luke would be down as well by virtue of having pitched 3 of the last 4 days, and that they didn't want to have to use Jake Petrichka because he went 2 innings yesterday through a lot of pitches. But for Pete Walker and John Gibbons decisions to be made, that's why Chris Rowley is here. And they'll just try to piece it together, stay in the game, and I guess if they're in a good position late, they've got Biagini and Clippard.
Well, and Pete Walker, he has a lot of information that helps him decide whether or not a guy is available. It's not only the pitches they throw in a game, how many times they get up without getting into a game, but he'll keep track of pitches thrown down in the bullpen, how many days a guy got up, whether or not he's sharp, and he's going to make sure that he keeps everybody as healthy as possible. It looks like they're going to start to get somebody going now.
And we can all look and see how many pitches a guy threw, but it's a multi-layered kind of thing. If a guy got up 3 times before he came into the game, they track that. Mookie Betts the batter. Throw down to first, diving back in is Lynn. Let's go to Arash.
And Dan, just to tie the bow on the bullpen story, Roberto Osuna pitched a scoreless inning for the Gulf Coast League Blue Jays today. That's his first appearance since he was arrested and charged with assault on May 8th. He allowed a hit and struck out one.
And that will be something that obviously a lot of people, thank you Arash, will be tracking over the next 3 weeks. Eligible to come back, I believe, on August the 5th. I think the 4th is the last day of the suspension, and the 5th is the first day that he is allowed to be back. And another base hit for Mookie Betts. His second of the game and his 7th in 10 at-bats in this series.
Well, he is really hot right now. That's obvious. But the way he's approaching the baseball is not a big swing. He just stays on this ball. Watch how he gets his hands back and takes it right back up the middle. We have seen him hit doubles and triples in this series, but boy, he can just flat out hit. Came into this game batting .357. He has 107 hits now.
And now we have legitimate up on the mound getting loose activity. That's Tim Mayza starting to throw.
One more thing about Mookie Betts. He's missed 14 games this season, but he's still among the leaders in runs scored, extra base hits, stolen bases, and total bases.
First and second, one out. Brock Holt, the batter, hit into a double play his first time up. We'll see how far John Gibbons is willing to go with Sam Gaviglio today. I got to believe, given the fact that Mesa's up now, I think we can pretty much say with certainty about Chris Rowley's going to pitch in this game today at some point. Holt pops one into shallow center field. Pilar diving, and he's got it. Step on second, double play, inning over. Kevin Pilar does it again. Lynn was so sure that ball was going to drop. He was around third base already. They turn it into an easy double play on another impressive diving catch by Superman out in center field.
MBJ 5082 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage, and the code must be entered by 4 a.m.
All right, Arash, thank you. No score here at Fenway Park. What a great catch by Kevin Pilar. Started a double play that ended the inning, but look at him reach up with his glove, touch his right shoulder. Maybe, could just be a crick in the neck. Hard for us to know for sure, but Pilar in some obvious discomfort and headed down the stairs towards the tunnel and perhaps the clubhouse. Pilar due up fourth here in the top of the fourth inning, so we'll find out when the third batter, Kendrys Morales, comes up if Pilar's in the on deck circle or not.
And you can see DeMarlo Hale, he's the guy that will keep track of Pilar, and Dwight Smith Jr. has also been given the heads up. Hey, get your legs loose. You might be in there. As Pilar was obviously in some discomfort. And you know what? He makes all those plays with a little regard for his health. And he always talks about his football background helping him out with that. He played a lot of football in high school. And he always feels like he could protect himself when he dives. But that time, he got his right shoulder pretty good when he rolled over the top of it.
And you got to admire that he sacrifices his body to make those plays as often as he does, but occasionally pays the price for it. Teoscar Hernandez leading off the fourth. And lifts a fly ball to right center field. Pretty well hit, but in this ballpark, that's shy of the warning track out in right center field, one down.
Well, let's take a look at that catch by Kevin Pilar and how far he had to run. And it's a little looper. And here's Pilar in center. A little bit of a hesitation, but then he covers so much ground, 72 feet. And he makes the catch. Catch probability just 79%. That StatCast is powered by AWS. So Dwight Smith Jr. is getting loose. That is not a drill, folks. That is a vibrator that they use on their legs to get them loose. And you know, I have used that, and it's really quite interesting how helpful it is. But they pack them on the bench, and when somebody has a sore leg or a hamstring or something, they'll use that to initiate those muscles getting loose. It looks like he's coming into the game.
Yeah, if we get some kind of an update on Pilar, we will pass it along as soon as possible. Justin Smoke is the batter.
They could send a couple of those up here. I could use one of those right now.
And Smoke with the bouncing ball down to first. Swihart makes the play for out number 2. And that is 6 in a row now set down by Eduardo Rodriguez.
Well, we mentioned Rodriguez came to the Red Sox in a big trade in the July trade deadline. A couple of years ago, Andrew Miller went to Baltimore, and he's dealt with some significant knee injuries where he couldn't pitch and he missed a lot of time. But boy, you see him on the mound and you can see why the Red Sox were so high on obtaining him from the Orioles.
Here's Morales with 2 down and the bases empty, and it is indeed Dwight Smith Jr. now out in the on deck circle for the Blue Jays. So looks like Kevin Pilar is out of the game. Morales with a base hit his first time up. And a ground ball to short, right at Bogarts. And an easy play as the Blue Jays go in order again. 7 in a row now set down by Rodriguez, and there's still no score in this ball game. Dwight Smith Jr. comes into the game. He goes to right field. Randall Grichuk will move from right to center field. Kevin Pillar now officially out of the ball game this afternoon. And again, if we get a report, we will pass it along as soon as possible. Sam Gaviglio, meanwhile, is still out of the mound. And he will face J.D. Martinez to get it going. Got him to ground out his first time up, but Martinez has been putting up great numbers all year and even more impressive numbers over this 9-game hitting streak.
Yeah, and the Red Sox, we just saw them lose their 10-game win streak, but during the course of those 10 games, J.D. Martinez was front and center. He had 385 over his last 9 games, 12 RBIs, and the OPS over 1-1. But he has been a great addition to this Red Sox lineup, and basically just one new player into the Red Sox lineup, J.D. Martinez, but he's made a dramatic difference in the offense. I think Sam Gaviglio has 2 batters. He has J.D. Martinez, Sander Bogaerts, and then we're going to see Tim Mayza for Jackie Bradley Jr.
And I think if Gaviglio can give them 3 2/3 shutout innings, I think John Gibbons, Pete Walker, going to be very happy with that, considering that he's on 2 days rest.
Oh, I think he'd be thrilled with that. And Mayza is getting ready, and he has the assignment for Jackie Bradley Jr. We mentioned J.D. Martinez hit a 2-run home run off of Sam Gaviglio in May here, and it was the same pitching matchup, Rodriguez against Gaviglio.
Slider for a strike, 2-2 on J.D. Martinez.
Now you see a hitter take a pitch like that, a slider right down the middle, and what's that tell you? He's looking for a fastball. So now Luke Maile has to make the decision. Now you can see J.D. a couple extra thoughts before he stepped back into the box. Does he shift gears, or is he still on the fastball? I think Gaviglio wants to throw him another breaking ball.
I think Maile asked him for fastball in, fastball away, and then changeup, and Gaviglio kept shaking.
There's so many things you can figure out by watching a batter, watching his body language, and watch the pitches he takes. He took a slider right down the middle. So if I'm catching, I'm thinking, man, this guy's looking fastball. I better be careful. If I throw him a fastball, I better locate it.
Martinez launches it, and it's gone. Designed to be away. It was over the middle of the plate. Didn't locate it. And Martinez loses it. 1-0 Boston.
He's a great hitter, and he had a game plan when he went into the batter's box to start this inning. He took that slider right down the middle, and he was looking fastball the entire at bat. And as I said, if you don't hit your spots to these good hitters like Smoke and Martinez, they're going to hurt you when you make a mistake. 29th home run of the season. 80 RBIs now, and you can see he wanted it down and in, but it crept out over the plate, and he smoked it over the wall in left. You know what, pitchers have come back, and after a game they say, well, I only made 1 mistake. Well, they'll make more than 1 mistake, and sometimes those mistakes don't get hit, but that time it did.
Number 29 on the season for J.D. Martinez. And the Red Sox strike first, leading 1-0 here in the bottom of the 4th. Batter, probably last batter for Gaviglio, is Sander Bogaerts.
But that gets back to the aspect. You can look at all the video you want, and you can prepare yourself for hours before a game. But if you don't pay attention to what a hitter is doing in a given at bat, you're going to miss, and you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to get hurt, especially in the middle of the order. You can go out to the mound with a specific game plan and say, well, I'm going to throw J.D. Martinez this breaking balls, and he's not going to hit him. Well, he wasn't even looking for a breaking ball. He was looking for nothing but fastballs in that bat.
Martinez now 4 home runs in his last 7 games against the Blue Jays, and he breaks a tie with Jose Ramirez of Cleveland for the major league lead in home runs, number 29. A foul ball came back our way and bounced into a box. Just 2 boxes to our right. A group of kids are in there. And that was a fairly makeable play, but it was bobbled and dropped, unfortunately. They would have loved that souvenir.
Yeah, those kids sitting in the front row, and the kid on the left had a shot at it and kind of knocked it down, but it bounced back out of the box.
To right field. Here comes Smith, and he's there to make the catch. For out number 1, and here comes John Gibbons, and that will indeed be all for Sam Gaviglio today. So they end up getting 3 1/3 with 1 run allowed on the home run by JD Martinez, with Gaviglio pitching on short rest. And the parade to the bullpen has begun here at Fenway Park. And first up is Tim Mayza to face Jackie Bradley Jr. when we return. Coming on the next to last batter that he faces this afternoon. He's still lamenting the location of that fastball designed to be down and in, but left it out over the middle of the plate. Martinez's 29th homer, and now to the bullpen for Tim Mayza.
Tim Mayza faced a batter last night, and the only batter he faced, he retired. He's 1-0, 15th appearance of the season. He has been up and down 6 times between AAA Buffalo and Toronto this season for Mayza. He'll make his 6th appearance here at Fenway Park. He has pitched well against the Red Sox in this ballpark. Jackie Bradley Jr. is 0 for 4 against Tim Mayza.
Bradley struck out in his 1 at bat against Gaviglio. Shift on for the Blue Jays as Mayza's in there with a called first strike.
Well, Gaviglio not happy of the home run, but you can bet Pete Walker's very proud of him the way he took the ball and went out there and gave him 3 1/3. In an emergency situation, he stepped up and did exactly what the Blue Jays needed.
And he is scheduled to start the first game back after the All-Star game. John Gibbons, Pete Walker talked about how they envision the rotation going to start the quote-unquote second half of the season. The first game is Friday, and it will be Gaviglio. So today being Saturday, that means he'll be on 1 extra day's worth of rest. Marcus Stroman, who is going to start tomorrow, will then start the second game, also on an extra day's rest. Jay Happ is scheduled to start the 3rd game, and that shouldn't be impacted at all by whether or not he pitches in the All-Star game. All going well, Marco Estrada will be back to start the 4th game after the break. And then Ryan Baracki, who was optioned down to the minors today to make room for Chris Rowley, going to be recalled after 10 days, and that would get him back to start the 5th game after the break as Mayza rings up Bradley for the 2nd out. So in theory, Buck, it all sorts out fairly well, but it's contingent, of course, on Estrada being healthy enough to start.
Exactly, and he's encouraged, and I think they made a good move by putting him on a DL and giving them the All-Star break to continue to come back. But Mayza retires the first batter he faced. Boy, if he locates that slider like that, he is not going to have any issues whatsoever. And that's what he's been working on, just making sure he gets that slider down and away to the lefty hitters. He's got enough fastball to pitch to right-handers as well. And he can throw that slider to right-handers. He can throw it to that back foot and get him to swing over the top of it. 2
down for Eduardo Nunez, DHing this afternoon. It's interesting also how Meza is being used by the Blue Jays. On a number of occasions, he comes in, faces one lefty, throws a couple of pitches, and he's out of the game. On a number of occasions, he's gone 2 innings for the Blue Jays, including this week in Atlanta when he threw 41 pitches. Popped up. Gurriel back into right field, makes the catch. And that'll do it for the Red Sox in the bottom of the 4th. They get a run on the Martinez homer, lead 1-0 at the end of 4.
Before SummerSlam, it's Extreme Rules, a full slate of championship bouts with the biggest names in sports entertainment awaits 7 Eastern on the WWE Network. Meanwhile, Ryan Tepera will head north for a couple of hours on I-95 after the ball game today. He'll pitch the first inning in Portland for AA New Hampshire tomorrow. The plan is that lone rehab start for Tepera, who says he's all systems go with the elbow, then be activated after the All-Star break, Dan.
All right, Arash, thank you. So theoretically, both Estrada and Tepera could be back. Dwight Smith Jr. trying to bunt his way aboard, but he's out by a step at first.
Well, if he gets that a little closer to the third base foul line, he's going to be safe. But what a good idea. Lefty on lefty, just coming into the game, and maybe you can catch the Red Sox flat-footed. But he bunted it too close to the mound, and Rodriguez was able to get off the mound and make the play. If he gets this up the line a little bit more, he's got a chance for a base hit, but that's right back toward the pitcher's mound, and Rodriguez throws him out.
Smith coming on for the injured Kevin Pillar. If you weren't with us earlier, it appeared that Pillar suffered a right shoulder injury, making a diving catch, kind of rolled over in the aftermath of the catch, grimaced, was taken out of the game. Smith came into the game, went to right. Randall Grichuk, who's batting right now, moves to center. No update yet on the severity or nature of the Pillar injury. Grichuk broken bat, got jammed, little pop up as he's retired, now 1 for 2.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, this game's a little bit different than last night's game was in the early innings. Last night was nuts early. It was 8-6 in the 3rd. It wound up 13-7. This one much calmer, 1-0 in the 5th. And Eduardo Rodriguez has been dealing. We mentioned he came in on a scoreless streak, 13 2/3 innings, and he's added to that. So he's up over 18 scoreless innings in a row right now. His 3rd outing against the Blue Jays this year. 6 shutout innings against the Nationals, 5 2/3 against the Rangers. Last couple of innings against the Yankees the time before that were scoreless. Holt behind the bag at second, and Diaz out by a step. That's a quick inning. Blue Jays go 1, 2, 3. 10 in a row set down by the left-hander. Red Sox lead 1-0.
Some have second-guessed. Now the situation, scoreless, bottom one. JD Martinez at the plate, Mookie Betts on third. Gurriel playing deeper in the infield, decided to fire home instead of taking the ground ball out. Afterwards, John Gibbons said, "I don't mind it." The manager pointed out that if Gurriel's throw was on target, Betts is out by 2 or 3 feet. Now Gibbons said the move by Gurriel showed him something. He said, quote, "All I want him to do is think aggressively right now. Play the game, play naturally." So Dan, in the ongoing development of this new big leaguer, they want him going after it.
Well, and it was very interesting, Arash, in your interview with Kevin Pillar after the game. And this is before Pillar had a chance to think about it or talk to anybody about it. Pillar said, you know what? He's a young shortstop, and if he's going to make a mistake, I'd rather him make an aggressive mistake. So, you know, even though he didn't do what he was supposed to do, it seems like people are okay with it.
Yeah, you know what, and I talked about it in the game when it happened, and the infield was back, and that suggests the manager saying, I want to trade it out for a run. Well, he was going to get the out at home plate, but he bounced the ball, and Russell Martin couldn't help him out and dig it out on the ground. But it was only a run, and it didn't cost him any more than that. But boy, he's got great instincts, and he saw that he had a shot at Mookie Betts, and he just didn't make a great throw. Larry Rivera talked to him about that throw today, and he said the only thing I wanted you to do was get your feet working a little better, because had you shifted your feet, you'd have had more on the throw, and you'd have been able to make a perfect throw in the air. So that's where the footwork is really becoming part of his play, either at short or at second.
Well, if he does do it again, I think he'll get enough on the throw. He'll make the adjustment. He's certainly got enough arm, although it's not a typical throw that a shortstop makes from playing back to home plate. Gurriel at second base today. Tim Mayza back on the mound for the Blue Jays. And a little bit high. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Blake Swihart, getting a start at first base today. Dwight Smith Jr. has been busy since coming into the game.
Take on any project with Home Hardware, proud partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's how.
Here in Boston, more activity in the bullpen. Right-hander Luis Santos is now starting to get loose for the Blue Jays. And they are down a few arms today.
You know, we have talked about Mayza and how he figures into the plans going forward. I think he's going to be a very important part of this bullpen for a while. And I like his stuff. Always liked his stuff. Fastball, slider. I characterize him as a guy like Matt Thornton. And Matt Thornton came to the major leagues at 27 years old. Took him a while to master his pitches, but he threw hard. He had a good arm, good slider, but it took him a while to master his pitches. But once Thornton got to the big leagues, he had a 13-year career. And he pitched until he was 39, and I think Mayza will be that type of pitcher. He'll be a very good, very valuable reliever for a long time.
And who knows, as Leon waves through that one 2-2, let's not forget Aaron Loup is a free agent at the end of the year. Whether or not he's back, whether or not he gets traded, Mayza could find himself, if Loup's not back next year, Mayza could find himself as the primary lefty in the bullpen, depending on what happens in the offseason. Right now, he's just kind of on that Toronto Buffalo show because he's got options.
And you know what? Matt Thornton was never a closer. He never had big closer numbers. He had 23 career saves with the White Sox over 8 years for his career. That's the only saves he ever picked up. But he's a very important guy. You bring him into a situation with you got lefty, righty, lefty in an inning, and you can use a guy like Mayza.
And it's great that the experience he's getting in the big leagues right now is not just against lefties, that he is facing right-handed batters on a fairly regular basis. Got it. Got a fastball by him at 94, 2 down.
Yeah, his stuff plays up. There's no question about it. And he understands and he's going to just have to learn to locate his pitches. And you know, sometimes these left-handed relievers with 2 pitches, they have concerns about making great pitches all over the zone. I think if he just commands his pitches down and away to right-handers and occasionally busting them up and in, he can be successful, and then just focus down and away on left-handed hitters. I think he can be great.
Facing a left-handed hitter here in Sue Lin. Hitting 162 in limited action in the big leagues this year. Was a 308 hitter at AAA. And again, just recalling because Rafael Devers went on the DL with a bad shoulder. A little bit of an awkward and late swing there. That slider, and he's quickly in the hole 0-2.
Yeah, that wasn't a good slider. That was upstairs, kind of backed up. Now, if he comes right back with the slider, it'll be a better slider, and it'll probably be down and away.
Fastball away.
Missed with the fastball. It's 95. That's good stuff.
The slider rolled into right field for a base hit.
Now, that's a very good word, because that's what the slider did when it went to home plate. It just kind of rolled into home plate. Didn't have any sharp break. And he just left it over the heart of the plate. And with 2 strikes, you can't do that. You got to throw a strike through ball, breaking ball, when you've got a hitter down.
And interesting, Pete Walker is out, and it looks like they're going to leave. Obviously, they're going to leave Mesa in here to face Mookie Betts. They've got Luis Santos ready in the bullpen, but they must like what they see from the young left-hander right now. And Mookie Betts going back to get a little instructions from Alex Cora.
Well, you made a great point earlier about the opportunities Mays is getting to face right-handed hitters, and this is a good test. You know, you got one of the hottest hitters in baseball right here, and he's going to get an opportunity to go up and face him. And Mookie Betts, you look at what he has done, especially in this ballpark. His home batting average for hitters with a minimum of 100 plate appearances at home. He's first, hitting .419, first for the on-base, slugging in OPS. So you know what? Pete Walker came out and said, hey, you can get this guy. You make your pitches, you can get this guy. So let's see how he attacks him here.
A little bit high, ball 1. Betts 2 for 2 today, 7 for 10 in the series.
I guess that's a test.
1-0 Boston, bottom of the 5th. Clouding over, a little bit cooler now here at Fenway Park. Inside, ball 2.
Mookie Betts is a deadly low ball hitter, and they're trying to crowd him, trying to keep the ball up.
You know what the conversation may have been as well? We know first base isn't open, but bases are, hey, if you put him on, you got Brock Holt next. No disrespect to Brock Holt, but he's not Mookie Betts. He's a left-handed batter. Like, don't feel you have to throw one right down the middle of the plate. If you walk him and go after Holt, that's okay.
Well, and again, with a younger pitcher, that's showing a lot of confidence that he can command his pitches. And finally, they just issue ball 4, so they'll walk Mookie Betts. Second time they've walked him intensely in this series. But now you know where he's at. Now you've got the lefty-lefty matchup that you were looking for. But when Walker went to the mound, and you're right, he probably said, okay, I don't want you to pitch to Mookie Betts. You got a left-hander, but I want you to pitch around him. We're not going to walk him right out of the chute. But Mesa commanded the ball well enough that he never gave him anything good to hit.
And this has got to be, you would figure, last batter for Mesa one way or another with J.D. Martinez on deck and Santos ready. Holt is 0 for 2 today. 2 on, 2 out. And a strike at the knees with the slider, 0-1. Mesa got 2 outs in relief of Gaviglio last inning. Got the first 2 outs here in the 5th. A ground ball base hit into right and an intentional walk. Outside.
Better depth on that breaking ball, but it was just off the plate outside. Holt has really hit well against the Blue Jays this season. He came into this game batting .382 against the Jays. Slider again, fouled off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now here's where the fastball plays. He has shown him the breaking ball, and Holt has cut his swing down. So now, and we have talked about it throughout this series, the Blue Jays believe there are a lot of outs up in the zone, especially to left-handed hitters. And Mesa's got enough velocity on his fastball to run that ball upstairs, see if he can't get the strikeout. Everything has been down.
Slider and blocked or caught on a bounce by Maley. Very aggressive out at second base right now is Tsu-Wei Lin, especially with all those sliders down low. He was about 35 feet off the bag by the time that pitch was at home plate.
He was very aggressive back in the third inning when he was all the way to third base when Pilar caught that pop-up.
2 balls, 2 strikes. There's the high fastball. Holt wouldn't chase. Full count, and now the runners get a moving start. Big pitch coming here for Mesa and the Blue Jays in a 1-run game. Mesa's got his sign. Runners go. 3-2. Did he go? Yes, he did. Chased a slider down and away. And what a terrific job out of the bullpen today by Tim Mesa. He gets 5 very big outs in the middle of this game, and it is still Red Sox 1, Blue Jays nothing after the strikeout of Holt.
Game live or on demand. The subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, so you can watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this sale. And after the All-Star break, reports out of New York suggest Yoenis Cespedes will return to the Mets just in time for the Subway Series, Dan, against the Yankees.
We'll see what kind of changes may exist on those two teams. Noah Syndergaard returned for the Mets last night. He's been out a while with injury and have 5 pretty strong innings. Picked up a victory in his return. All kinds of speculation as to whether or not the Mets would have any willingness to trade either or both of Jacob deGrom and Noah Syndergaard. Do you keep these 2 great young starting pitchers and try to build around them, or do you say, you know what, there's not enough around them to make it work, we got to start over?
Well, and that's when you really got to be honest with yourself and look at your farm system and say, are there enough players in the farm system to complement these 2 starters, or do we need to use those 2 starters to rebuild our farm system? And I think the latter is the case. You know what, a couple more years, maybe 3-4 years before the Mets farm system produces any talent. And by then, you know, they might not have the same value they have right now.
3-1 the count on Luke Maile leading off the 6th inning.
Unless, of course, you think Tim Tebow is going to be somebody you could build around.
Double-A All-Star this year.
Double-A All-Star for sure.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in September.
I bet you're going to see him. And Sandy Alderson has always said that. And I know Sandy is away from the team right now, dealing with health issues. But the Mets have always said they're going to get Tebow to the big leagues.
Maile called out on strikes. Back to the top of the order now for Lourdes Gurriel, who's got a hit in 2 trips today and continues to swing a hot bat ever since his most recent return to the major leagues. The offensive numbers have been impressive.
They sure have. And each time we have seen him, he gets better and better, both at the plate and in the field. And he's got 6 RBIs in 10 games since coming back from the minor leagues.
Ground ball to the right side. Swihart bobbles, recovers, and throws it behind Rodriguez. And now Gurriel is injured after a collision with Rodriguez. And did Gurriel get kicked or kneed in the head as he dove towards first base? Rodriguez not getting up yet either.
Well, what an unfortunate situation as Rodriguez and Gurriel arrived at first base at the same time. The throw was behind Rodriguez, so he had to reach back forward. When he did, he went into the baseline, right in the path of Gurriel. Both players are down, and of course the coaching staff and the training staff out to attend to both of the players. But Swihart made a terrific play, and Gurriel looks like he got kicked in the back of the head or the top of the neck as Rodriguez was trying to avoid him. He jumped over the top of him, but then he didn't clear all the way over the top. Boy, everybody is hustling. Gurriel sliding. You see his left foot hit Gurriel in the back.
And for Rodriguez, I think it's his right ankle. We saw on that last replay his ankle, you might not be able to see it there, but his right ankle got caught under the right thigh of Gurriel. So a bad ankle for Rodriguez, and now Gurriel, you know, you always got to be careful no matter if it's jaw, side of the head, back of the head. You have to be so careful and cautious with these types of injuries, but it appears that Gurriel is going to be able to stay, which is great news. Meanwhile, Rodriguez is going to test out his ankle up on the mound.
Yeah, and Jose Menestral, the assistant trainer, was out, checked him out for the signs of concussion, but you see how he gets kicked in the back of the neck, and Rodriguez falls awkwardly in a heap. And you're right, I think it was a knee and ankle or something, because he's testing it on the mound. Yep. And I don't know if they'll let him continue.
His foot rolled inward. He got it caught under the leg of Gurriel, under the right thigh of Gurriel.
He's had so many problems with his knees that they're going to be extra cautious here. And if there's any doubts whatsoever, I'm sure they're going to take him out of the game.
Keep an eye on the right ankle there. Gets caught under Gurriel and rolls it. Man, a dangerous play for both guys.
Yeah, they're going to take the ball away from him. He's out of the game, and I think that's the right move. Because of his history of having so many issues with his knees, and then it's the ankle he rolls over, and you certainly don't want a player out there that's not confident that he's healthy enough to continue, and then he's going to make an adjustment with his arm, and it might lead to an arm issue. So they make the right move, taking him out of the game with one out here in the 6th.
He pitched well, an abbreviated outing because of the injury. And now whoever it is who comes in for the Red Sox will have unlimited time to warm up because of the situation. Gurriel will take the opportunity. Again, there will be a bit of a delay here. Gurriel is heading back to the Blue Jay dugout alongside Tim Leeper, but probably just because he knows he's got some time before he needs to get back to first base.
And probably get a towel and clean himself up a little bit, because he had a head first slide and got dirt all over himself, and he'll take a break while the pitcher gets as much time as he needs to get loose because of the injury.
Dave Dombrowski a little bit concerned about Eduardo Rodriguez, no doubt. Heath Hembry is on his way in from the bullpen. and will have as much time as he needs to warm up. So we will step away for a moment. Got some time here before the game resumes. 1-0 Boston, with the Blue Jays batting at the top of the 6th. To over 450 partner destinations around the globe. Join today at westjet.com/rewards. Keith Hembree continues to warm up in the aftermath of the Eduardo Rodriguez injury. So we get a little bit more time. Let's send it down to Arash.
Well, Dan, during the All-Star break, this is a new one, the ultimate 90s party at Rogers Center called Smells Like Team Spirit. It's on July 19th, and Blue Jay stars from the 90s, Joe Carter, Fred McGriff, Jose Cruz Jr. will all be there. Tickets are on sale at bluejays.com/extra innings. All proceeds supporting Jays Care, and it's the Jays Care Girls at Bat program that's making an impact in my hometown of Truro, Nova Scotia. These young women signed up within an hour to play baseball for no charge in the municipality of Colchester, the first municipality in Canada to sign an agreement with Jays Care, and the program is based around teamwork, friendship, and love of sport. Awesome.
Arash, thank you. Arash is a very proud Nova Scotian. Loves talking Truro. Hembree ready to go. 1-0. The Red Sox lead the Blue Jays 6th inning. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is okay. He has stayed in the game after getting kicked in the back of the neck or back of the head inadvertently by Eduardo Rodriguez on that collision at first base. The play, by the way, we are told has been scored an infield hit for Gurriel, despite the bobble in the bat throw from Swihart. And now Yangervis Solarte is up.
You know, that's one point I want to bring up, because there's so many utility players playing different positions, but when you take a regular first baseman out of the mix, and Swihart making just his third start, he made a bad throw to first base and really jeopardized his pitcher. Took him right into the base path, and they had that collision. But yeah, it's good to be versatile, but at the same time, you know, you put the guy out of position and he's not going to be able to make all the particular plays, especially the tough ones. And it was a tough play, but he made a bad throw.
The 1-1. Did he go? Yes, he did. On the appeal down to third, 1-2.
And Solarte, he didn't like the call by Brian Gorman, the crew chief down at third base, and he showed his displeasure with the call. Gorman's keeping a close eye on him.
Gorman doesn't look like he's in the mood for any funny stuff today from anybody. There goes the runner. And the pitch grounded down to first. Only play for Swihart is to step on the bag because Gurriel's going. So putting him in motion keeps them out of a potential double play. Runner at second, 2 down.
Well, Gurriel, he can run a little bit, so they put him in motion, and the ball is hit right to the first baseman. Swihart breaks off the bag. He takes a look at second. He's got no play there, of course. So now the Blue Jays have a runner in scoring position.
And a base hit from Teoscar Hernandez could tie this game. Blue Jays just 4 hits today. The Red Sox 1 run on 5 hits. The run coming in on a J.D. Martinez home run off Sam Gaviglio.
This is why we love baseball. You mentioned last night there were 14 runs scored before the Red Sox hit in the bottom of the third. And today a totally different story. 1 run on 9 hits combined.
And as was the case last night, we're starting to hear some of the Blue Jay fans trying to get a "Let's Go Blue Jays" fan chant started here at Fenway. Then the Red Sox fans, who obviously have the strength in numbers, they drown them out. You walk anywhere in the downtown or Back Bay area here in Boston, you see a lot of blue shirts around.
They are everywhere. Last night I walked from the ballpark over to Kenmore Square and saw all kinds of Blue Jay fans, their families. They had signs they had made. They talked about where they had come from and why they were here and how much they love the Blue Jays. They take a lot of pride in representing Canada, their specific town, and coming to support the Blue Jays no matter where they travel. Yeah, this part of the country, of course, the Red Sox used to be Canada's team on the East Coast. And then when the Blue Jays came into existence in '77, they kind of switched their allegiances. So there's a lot of people from the Maritimes that come down here.
Yeah, a lot of folks who became Expo fans too were Red Sox fans before that. There's a strike, 2-1.
But we all know the favorite destination of Blue Jay fans. That's Seattle. And we'll be there later on. A 4-game weekend series.
Hotel rooms at a premium, I'm sure, in downtown Seattle, as they always are when the Blue Jays are there. Hotels jack their prices up when they know the Blue Jays are coming.
I don't know when it was, but Jim Houston and I were doing a game in Oakland. We got talking about going to Seattle. And Huey suggested fans should bring Buck a fish. You wouldn't believe the salmon that showed up in the booth. We had fresh salmon, smoked salmon, canned salmon.
Well, what do you want this time?
I don't know. I'm going to think about it. We had so many fish. We gave John Olerud about 6 fresh salmon. He took home to his family and they barbecued them.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Teoscar Hernandez. And he takes it high, a full count from Hembree. Hembree's in no rush this afternoon.
They didn't expect to be pitching in this game the way Rodriguez was dealing.
Red Sox are
in action.
The Red Sox as a group are not all on board with the pace of play situation that the commissioner's trying to work.
That's for sure.
Ball 4. So the inning continues, first and second with 2 down now.
That's not a good walk.
No.
That is not a good walk because that brings Justin Smoke to the plate. I mean, there are good walks and there are bad walks, and now Dana Lange, the pitching coach, is going to come out and remind him, hey, that's not a good walk. You got to pitch to Justin Smoke, and he has been swinging a hot bat. 2 home runs last night. Smokey drove in 4. And when you look at where Smoke is compared to his great season a year ago, he had 23 home runs at this time a year ago. 56 RBIs. He's not that far off the pace in runs batted in. And his slugging is right there. You know, he has really turned it on here in the middle of the season. Hembree gets a little update on Smoke. He's only got 1 hit against Hembree. He's 1 for 6. But the way he's swinging the bat right now, it's going to be a challenge for Hembree.
Smoke today, a couple of groundouts. First and second, 2 down, 1-0. Blue Jays batting in the top of the 6th. And the shift is on. Lynn is alone on the left side of the infield and kind of giving up the shortstop hole a little bit closer to third to prevent Gurriel from taking the base. First pitch swinging and a high fly ball to center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. and the Blue Jays will leave a couple of men on. They threaten but don't score. Still 1-0 going bottom 6.
The 9th stage is next on tap of the Tour de France. More than 20 kilometers of cobblestones divided into 15 sectors. Never before has the Tour had this much cobblestone track, nor this late in the race. Tour de France continues on Sportsnet 1. Dan?
Arash, who you got in the Wimbledon final tomorrow? Let's get serious. Everybody knows you're a tennis guy. Djokovic survived Nadal today, and Anderson in that crazy matchup with Isner. Who's going to win tomorrow?
Dan, I saw a stat that Anderson's been on court for more than 21 hours and Novak for 16. So the 5-hour edge I give to Djokovic.
Edge to the Joker.
Yeah.
Bottom 6, 1-0. Red Sox leading the Blue Jays. New pitcher for the Blue Jays, reliever right-hander Luis Santos.
Santos will be facing J.D. Martinez for the first time. This is his 5th appearance of this season. His numbers are a little bit inflated, but he does rack up some strikeouts. He's averaged 12 strikeouts per 9 innings, and J.D. Martinez homered his last time up.
Counting for the only run of the afternoon. His major league leading 29th home run, his 80th RBI. He becomes just the 5th player in the last 10 years to drive in 80 or more runs before the All-Star break. Now, a bit of an asterisk because the season starts earlier, and the All-Star game is actually just the quirks of the calendar this year. The All-Star game is a little bit later than it normally is, so more games have been played. But Albert Pujols, Chris Davis, the Orioles' Chris Davis, Miguel Cabrera, and Edwin Encarnacion are the only other 4 players in the last 10 years to drive in 80 or more runs before the All-Star game. And Santos makes quick work of him.
Well, J.D. Martinez, he likes to have a lot of information against pitchers he has faced before. This is the first time he has faced Santos, and he waves at that breaking ball. And he got a fastball to him upstairs, and this is a good breaking ball. Out on the outside part of the plate, and Santos gets another strikeout. We told you he can rack up some strikeouts, and he has done that.
Next batter, Xander Bogaerts. A strikeout and a fly ball today. Talked a little bit about that Gulf Coast League Blue Jay game. Arash gave you the report earlier that Roberto Osuna made his first appearance back. He is allowed to pitch in the minors before being eligible to return to the big leagues on August the 5th. When, by the way, that is, well, you mentioned Seattle. That's the last game of the series in Seattle on a Sunday. Then the Blue Jays are off August 6th. Then they come home to start a homestand, rather, with the Red Sox coming to town. Osuna went a scoreless inning today, gave up a hit, struck out a batter. Vladimir Guerrero played in that game, went 1 for 3 with a double, and whereas he DH'd yesterday, he played third base today, so they're starting to ease him back in a little bit, testing out that knee. Bogaerts with a bouncer to third, long throw coming for Solarte, and it's on the money, 2 down.
At the Honda Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Two down here in the bottom of the 6th at Fenway Park in Boston. Opened in 1912, 2 years older than Wrigley Field. Wrigley 1914. Here's Jackie Bradley Jr. struck out in both at bats today. The Blue Jays put the shift on. Chopper foul.
You know, you talk about J.D. Martinez getting 80 RBIs before the All-Star break. I went back and looked at the most RBIs before the break. Hank Greenberg had 103 RBIs in 1935 in 76 games.
103
and 76 games. Juan Gonzalez had 101 in 98 in 87 games. Juan drove in 157 that year.
What year did you say that was for Hank Greenberg?
35. He drove in 170.
Cooled off a little in the second half.
Second half, he slowed down a bit.
Ground ball to Gurriel at second. Bradley retired. That's a nice tidy 1-2-3 inning for Luis Santos. End of 6. Still Red Sox 1 and the Blue Jays nothing. Blue Jays baseball partnership. And it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership. Along with Buck Martinez and Arash Madani, I'm Dan Schulman. 7th inning. Blue Jays coming up trailing 1-0. And Joe Kelly is in the game again for the Red Sox today. Didn't go so well yesterday. Back out there this afternoon.
Now, he didn't get it out in yesterday's game, and he gave up 3 runs as he gave up a couple of hits and walked a batter. Now, he didn't have a walk, just 2 hits, but 3 runs were charged to Joe Kelly without recording an out. He threw just 9 pitches. So he is back in there this afternoon, and he'll deal with Kendrys Morales.
He's in a different part of the lineup than he faced yesterday. Morales 1 for 2. Turns around to bat for the left side against the right-hander Kelly. One more game before the All-Star break tomorrow. Marcus Stroman will be on the mound for the Blue Jays. 1:05 start, 12:30 pregame show. We talked about the Yankees a little bit earlier. They got a night game with Cleveland. That game is on Sportsnet tonight, the Yankees and the Indians. You said what, CC Sabathia and Mike Clevenger?
Yes, that's the pitching matchup for tonight.
Three-and-a-half-game lead for the Red Sox over the Yankees. Biggest lead that either team has had in the American League East since late April. A called strike, 2-2.
Kelly's got a good fastball, and you always got to be ready for that fastball. But because he was a starter, and actually was a starter when he first arrived with the Red Sox, he came from St. Louis. He's got the full complement of pitches.
A little bit inconsistent this year. Looks like Matt Barnes may have moved more into an 8th inning role with Kelly coming in here in the 7th as Morales bangs one into right field for a base hit. He is 2 for 3 today, and the Blue Jays have a base runner, the leadoff man aboard here in the 7th.
Because Dwight Smith Jr. had to come into the game, even though Morales gets a leadoff single here in a 1-run game in the 7th. They can't pinch hit just yet, or pinch run, excuse me. So what they might do is, should Morales get into scoring position, then there's that possibility that they would pinch run for him in this 1-run game.
Yeah, it's interesting. In the 7th, you know his spot is in all likelihood is going to come up again. Do you want to lose the bat if it's the 8th? Is it a different situation? We'll see how John Gibbons decides to play it. Here's Dwight Smith Jr. And I asked Gibby about Smith before the game, and he said, you know, he's the kind of guy, he grows on you the more that you see him play. He's never been a heavily hyped prospect. He's a little bit older, gets overlooked sometimes. He said, but the more you see him, the more you like him. And he said every time he comes up, he does something to help the team. And actually, his major league numbers are significantly better than his AAA numbers over the last couple of years, although he hasn't had a whole lot of time up here in the big leagues. Tim Leeper, the first base coach, remember that home run that Smith hit last night? The ball he lined down the right field line into the seats. Tim Leeper said he heard it hiss by him on his way down to the pesky pole. It had some noise to it on the way down the line.
That is a hard hit ball that you could hear. Again, this is the type of pitcher that Smith can get on, a guy that throws hard. That home run was on a 3-1 fastball, and he ripped it just inside the foul pole.
You know what Leeper was also talking about? He goes, nobody talked about it, but he's playing left. He's backing up plays, funny balls off the monster. If Pilar has to go get a ball, Smith's backing him up off the short wall and shallow left as well. He's made a bit of an impression on people. This ball could be trouble heading towards the corner, and it's off the wall. Bounces back towards the infield. Morales into third on a double for Dwight Smith Jr.
Well, he just keeps hitting, that's for sure. And another double for Dwight Smith Jr. That's his 5th double this season. He's got 5 doubles, 2 home runs out of 11 hits. And this is high up on the wall in the green monster. JD Martinez has to chase it. And Morales does a good job of reading this right away. He knows it's not going to be caught, so he motors around second and moves to third. And Dwight Smith follows him into second. So Blue Jays got something going right here.
And the wheels are turning in the dugout right now. Granderson's walking around with a couple of bats. So we may see him in a pinch hitting opportunity soon. First, here's Grichuk. Diaz is on deck, Maley behind him, and the bench consists of Granderson, Martin, and Travis. And you could see kind of a combo pinch hit and pinch run move at the same time after the Grichuk at bat. We'll see how the Blue Jays decide to play it. Grichuk 1 for 2.
Randall really has to zero in on the fastball. You just can't chase a breaking ball until you get in a situation where you might have to protect the plate. Randall drilled the ball off the wall in left field his first time up back in the second.
Second and third, nobody out in a one-run game. And he'll take a strike. 2-1. Let's check in with Arash.
Well, Dan, Dwight Smith in the game, of course, because Kevin Pillar left. It's because of a sternoclavicular joint strain in his right shoulder. The Blue Jays say he is currently undergoing imaging and further evaluation.
All right, well, that's beyond our scope to know how serious that is, but hopefully nothing major for the Pillar shoulder. Hot shot down to third. Runners have to hold. Long throw dug out by Swihart. Nice play. And Grichuk retired one down.
Nice play by Swihart over at first, as Siwei Lin has plenty of time, and he takes a lot of time, and Morales has to go back to third, but he bounces it. And Swihart's able to take the short hop and complete the 5-3 play.
So second and third, one out. Diaz will hit, and Granderson's been getting loose, but we don't see him yet. Maley's on deck, so we'll see how it plays out. And Diaz with a ground ball to short. This will get a run home, though, as that brings in Morales. To third is Smith, and the Blue Jays have tied it here in the seventh.
A good job by Diaz. Put the bat on the ball, and he hit it deep to short, so he'll pick up an RBI, his 23rd of the season, as Morales comes in to score, and the Blue Jays take advantage of a single and a double. How about Dwight Smith getting the double to force Morales over to third, and now ball's deep in the hole. Bogaerts has no play other than to go across the diamond for the second out of the inning.
Pat on the back from Morales to Diaz, as Diaz drives him in, tied at one. Here's Maley trying to give him the lead. The word on Eduardo Rodriguez: sprained right ankle, x-rays negative. There will be no W for Rodriguez today after the Blue Jays have just tied it. Pretty good lead down the line at third for Smith. Kelly staring right at him.
See, 98, but Maley was able to lay off, and both those pitches looked very close, and Kelly didn't get either call. So now Luke's got to make sure that he gets the pitch he wants to hit. Kelly, as we mentioned, he's got good breaking balls. He can throw a breaking ball 2-0 and still throw a strike. He missed with the breaking ball, but he wasn't going to give Maley a 2-0 cookie fastball. I think you let Luke swing here. 3-0. Even though you got a right-hander on deck, I just think that Gibbons has been that consistent all year long to let his hitters swing away.
Takes high, ball 4. And that's going to bring Gurriel to the plate and get the Fenway faithful even a little bit more restless with Joe Kelly. And here comes Alex Cora looking out to the bullpen, and there's the call. That's going to be it for Kelly. Second struggle in as many days for him. Can't get through the inning, can't hang on to the lead. And the Red Sox are going to Matt Barnes to face Lourdes Gurriel. So another break in the action here at Fenway as Barnes makes his way in. The Blue Jays have tied it here in the seventh.
run on 3 hits, an RBI double to Justin Smoke. So he is back in here with runners at the corners and 2 outs, and he'll deal with the leadoff man, Lourdes Gurriel Jr.,
who is 2 for 3 today, his 4th consecutive multi-hit game. He is 8 for 16 in his last 4 games, and best of all, escaped without serious injury in that collision with Eduardo Rodriguez at first base back in the 6th.
Thursday night, Gurriel popped out to center field facing Barnes. That was in the 8th inning.
Smith at third, Maley at first. A late swing and a miss, and a ball up and out of the zone.
Yeah, he was looking fastball, but he recognized about halfway toward home that it was going to be high. And by that time, he was overcommitted. He's had a great stretch over his last 4 games.
Gurriel is not a patient hitter at all. He's an aggressive guy. He's got 2 walks this year and 109 at bats. So the Blue Jays don't really have a prototypical leadoff hitter. Granderson gets on base at a good clip against righties. Against lefties, it's been Hernandez, it's been Grichuk, it's been Gurriel, just for the 2nd time today. But he's a swinger. He's up there looking to do some damage, and he bounces one through the right side for another base hit. Smith in to score. Maley around to third. 2-1 Blue Jays.
I'm really surprised Barnes threw him another fastball, because he can hit a fastball, and we have seen him use the whole field. And again, in this situation, it's an RBI situation with 2 outs. He doesn't try to do too much. The pitch was away from him. He slapped it through the right side into right field. But they try to go away with a fastball, and he can cover any fastball. Again, another pitch up and out over the plate. He doesn't try to pull it. He understands the situation. He's a terrific situational hitter, because he plays out these scenarios in his mind. 2 outs, all he needs is a base hit, and he's given the Blue Jays a lead.
His 3rd hit of the afternoon. 2-1 Blue Jays. Both runs coming here in the 7th. Charge to Kelly. And now one of the clubhouse kids for the Blue Jays, he's trying to get one of those sliding gloves to Tim Leeper at first to give to Gurriel, but the home plate umpires said, hang on, you got to wait. You didn't get it there in time. We got to keep the game moving. Solarte is the batter. You know, you see more and more base runners using, it looks like a big oven mitt almost, because they don't want to jam a finger, thumb, wrist, anything like that, so they wear that oversized mitt. But it hasn't gotten out to first base. It's tougher when you're on the 3rd base side of the field and you're trying to get it to a runner at first base. So now the bat boy for the Blue Jays. Now here he goes. He can make the exchange with Leeper, and he'll come back and make friends with the Red Sox bat boy again. It's not like quite like being a ball boy at Wimbledon or something, but there's some pressure down there for these kids. You got to do what you got to do without being seen or heard.
Nice block by Leon. He took that breaking ball in the dirt and kept the runners in place.
So what school do you go to? How's your summer going so far? And he'll scamper back over to the 3rd base side of the field when he gets a chance. He's going to work on his swing first.
I know he's not going to want to get the attention of the umpire again.
No. Out of play. RBI ground out for Aledmus Diaz. RBI single for Lourdes Gurriel Jr., his 3rd hit of the day. Not a lot of hard contact this inning. The Morales base hit was hard. Dwight Smith Jr. lofted one to the opposite field off the monster for a double. Diaz with an RBI ground out. Gurriel bounces one through the vacated right side for a single. Put it in play, though. Good things can happen. And a swing and a miss. Solarte strikes out. But the Blue Jays with a couple of runs, and they have taken the lead here at Fenway Park. Dwight Smith Jr. making things happen again with an opposite field double, and then Lourdes Gurriel Jr. bringing home the go-ahead run.
23 pitchers this season. So for Luke Maley, plenty of understanding of what each guy does. But he feels 2018 has been easier than last year because last spring he wasn't with the team in Dunedin to ease himself into it with the staff. The familiarity of having a full preseason helped Maley a ton to have basic knowledge of the arms in the organization when they've had to go so deep into the staff. He said Ryan Baraki, for instance, a good example. Sinker, changeup off that, and an occasional slider. So Maley says nothing he hasn't seen before as a catcher, but you still have to make a few adjustments from time to time.
How difficult was it catching guys, so many guys, and there are more pitchers now in a season than when you played, but how much of a challenge is it getting to know these new guys?
Yeah, it is a challenge, and I came to Toronto mid-season in 1981 and had to catch a hard-throwing young staff with a lot of good pitchers, and it was like that for Luke Maley last year when he joined the team at the end of April. But every pitch is different. Every pitcher throws a different kind of sinker, a different kind of slider, and you have got to get used to it. And then, certainly in the heat of battle, a little more intensity, a little more velocity, and you can get handcuffed catching pitchers you're not that familiar with.
Breaking ball in for a strike from Luis Santos, back for his second inning of work. 1-1 the count on Eduardo Nunez.
It's really important for backup catchers because in my mind, backup catcher, the definition of a backup catcher is the guy can't lose any games for you. He might not win a lot of them, but he can't lose any of them.
High fly ball to left field, and Hernandez there with activity in the Blue Jays bullpen right now. We saw him kind of playing catch earlier today. Now he's throwing. Now he's getting ready to come in. Aaron Loup is on the mound. Yeah,
and Loopy, he is a long-time Blue Jay, obviously. A senior member of that bullpen down there, and I'm sure he went to Dane Johnson and Pete Walker and said, hey, I can go today. I know we're a little thin, but I can give you a batter or two for sure.
There's a base hit through the right side for Blake Swihart. A potential tying run is aboard for the Red Sox. Got to believe no Axford today, probably no O. So that means Biagini. I think Biagini and obviously Clippard should be available. So it could be Luke to Biagini to Clippard if things go well for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Joe's going to start to crank it up as he is stretching and getting loose to begin his bullpen throwing. So it'll be Biagini and Luke loosening up.
It's interesting when John Gibbons might bring Luke into the game. I'll tell you about it after this pitch, because the Red Sox lineup presents some challenges in a number of ways. On deck, it's Tsu-Wei Lin, a left-handed batter. Then Mookie Betts. Then another left-handed batter, but Brock Holt.
The interesting guy for me is Mitch Moreland. He is on the bench, and why didn't he start today? That was curious because he's been terrific offensively, but he's available, and I'm sure that's why Loop is standing by ready down in that bullpen. So if they should make a move and possibly hit for Lynn, then you would have Loop ready for Moreland if he comes to the plate as a pinch hitter.
Well, there's no way Loop pitches to Betts. Either he walks him or Biagini.
Yeah, he's pitching to one guy, and that's going to be a potential pinch hitter.
2-1 Blue Jays, bottom 7. Tight affair this afternoon here at Fenway. A little pop up back of third. Solarte racing into foul territory. Can't quite get there, and it drops about 2 feet to the left of the line.
Solarte really busted at that time and got back behind third base, hoping to have a chance to make a play on it. And he might be feeling the effects of it. But he turned and burned and got down there to the line, but he didn't have a chance to make a play on it. He is busting it down into foul territory, but it's well beyond his reach.
So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Sandy Leon. 0 for 2 in the afternoon. Santos would love to get a ground ball at somebody right here. Leon does not run well. Chance to turn 2. Instead in the air to left field, but not deep. Every fly ball here gets some oohs and ahs. And now the runner had gone all the way to second. The throw is right on the money. Swihart had gone all the way to second base, and Hernandez doubles him off to end the inning.
Yeah, and it was all about the middle infielders because they deked the heck out of Swihart. Hernandez is going to make a routine catch, but watch the middle infielders here. Swihart's on the run. The middle infielders are acting as if they're going to turn a double play. Swihart's all the way past second base, headed to third. And Hernandez throws a strike to end the inning. Another base running mistake by the Red Sox.
Bacardi. The next one is Friday, July 20th. 2 events in one night. It's a country music showcase with a number of performers. Patio opens at 4:30, weather permitting. BlueJays.com for tickets, with the Orioles coming to town for Friday Fan Festivals, presented by Bacardi.
All right, Arash, thank you. 2-1. The Blue Jays still lead going to the top of the 8th. After a very interesting end to the bottom of the 7th. Great decoy by the middle infielders, Diaz and Gurriel. Swihart bit. Hernandez with a great throw from left field to first base, right on the money to get him rather easily as Swihart is doubled off first.
For Teoscar, that's his 7th outfield assist. His 4th from left field. He's had 3 in the right field. A terrific throw all the way to first base, right on the money. 3 times the Red Sox have run into double plays today. And twice they've done it on the bases where they have made base running mistakes. Su-Wei Lin was double up in the 3rd, and now like Swihart. Watch the double play combination. I mean, he doesn't even know if it's a ground ball or a fly ball, and by the time he recognizes it, it's much too late. Terrific play by Diaz and Gurriel. There's always something you can do on the field that'll help you win a ball game. And they didn't even have a baseball, but they made it look like they were turning 2.
Right, because Swihart is running, Diaz is heading over to cover the bag. It's his responsibility. Gurriel picks up on it, plays along. Boy, they act like they had done that 100 times before. 3-2. That's a huge play.
Let me tell you something. They both grew up in Cuba, and they both grew up in a system that emphasizes fundamentals. Catching the ball, throwing the ball. Diaz told me that as kids, they threw long every single day to master the art of throwing, and then they took thousands of ground balls, so they're fundamentally sound. Plus, we have seen the instincts, and they played on a high level in Cuba. And Diaz told me when he was playing in Cuba, I asked him, how much money did you play when you played on the national series in Cuba, their national team? He said $15 a month. So it's all about playing, and he was happy to do it. But boy, they are very, very good instinctively.
You know, it's interesting, this rotation the Blue Jays have going as well. So Travis can play second with either of the other 2 at short. Diaz can play short with either of the other 2 at second. So Gurriel obviously plays with a number of different people. I mean, there's a lot of getting used to each other still going on out there. But to see 2 guys on the same page at the same time like that is really encouraging. In the air to left. And it finally comes down for J.D. Martinez. Hernandez retired one down.
Well, in this series, I think it really exposes the Achilles heel of this Red Sox team. They need depth in their bullpen. They need some bullpen arms, and I think we have seen that in the last 2 games. And Dave Dombrowski probably in conversation with the manager, Alex Cora, about the concerns they have. Of course, they got one of the premier closers in the game in Craig Kimbrell. But the bridge to Kimbrell right now is kind of a wooden bridge with a lot of missing steps.
A little rickety. But they're kind of caught in a squeeze, both in terms of money, because they're up against the next threshold of the luxury tax, and they don't have the farm system that some other contending teams have, most notably the Yankees. So yeah, the Red Sox got a 3.5 game lead, but the Yankees have some resources available to them this year that the Red Sox may not.
Yeah, and you know what? The strength, of course, of the Yankees is the depth of their bullpen and the options that they have. So if you get into a short series with the Yankees, they've got 5 guys that can shut you down anytime. They don't have to use them all in one night, where the Red Sox would. The way it's set up right now, it'd have to be Barnes to Kimbrell. And how many times can you use that combination in a short series?
And they don't really have a regular lefty, too. They've gone a lot of times without a lefty. Robbie Scott was here yesterday. He got sent down. Bobby Pointer is here today. So Dave Dombrowski, who's never been shy at the deadline, and when he's got a good team, he may need a couple of relievers.
And he certainly has a good team. But you can bet his wheels are spinning.
It's Tony La Russa, 2 to the right, and Jimmy Devellano.
And a lot of experience up in that booth right now, and you can bet I'd love to hear that conversation. As Tony La Russa, he knows all about winning World Series.
There's a lot of success in those 3. Devellano with the Red Wings. It's a star-studded row.
It doesn't make any difference what the sport is, because it's all about character and commitment and how you put a team together and how that team works together. But wouldn't you love to listen in on that conversation?
Two-one Blue Jays in the 8th at a full count on Justin Smoke. And he waves at it, 2 down.
That's the pitch I thought Barnes would throw to Gurriel. With 2 outs and a runner at third, he threw him a fastball. Gurriel hit it to right. That's the difference in the ball game. But I thought for sure that Barnes would throw Gurriel breaking balls in that at bat because he's such a good fastball hitter. It's a hard breaking ball, and Smoke, he just couldn't hold up once he saw had some spin on it. He was much too committed.
So now Kendrys Morales, who has had another good day. He is 2 for 3, and remember, it was his base hit last inning that got that 2-run top of the 7th going for the Blue Jays, and it was by far the hardest hit ball in the entire inning. Yes, he did.
Very funky swing there from Morales as he was fooled on that pitch.
And Joe Biagini looks like he's going to come in the bottom of the 8th. Well, 2nd day in a row, the Blue Jays getting a lot of good work out of the bullpen. They certainly got it last night. In that 13-7 game, Petrichka was terrific. He picked up the win. Loop got an out on 1 pitch. Axford was good. O had a scoreless inning. Meza got an out, and then Clippard finished it. And today it's been Meza and Santos combining for 3 2/3 scoreless innings.
I think Dane Johnson and Pete Walker do a terrific job of spreading out the workload and keeping everybody as fresh as possible. And it's a constant grind trying to figure out, okay, this guy needs a day, and they go more by what they see than what they read as far as how a pitcher's throwing, how his warm-ups are going, how he's bouncing back from day to day. Then they will make decisions. Okay, this guy needs a day. I can tell by his arm action. They do a great job. And mind you, they're down a couple key pieces. Obviously, Danny Barnes is not available. Osuna's still not available.
Tepera.
Tepera's not available. Pete and Dane, they've done a terrific job.
innings. An opening day, Osuna was the closer to pair with the 8th inning guy. Barnes the 7th inning guy. That was before they really got to know the new guys that they brought in as free agents. As Morales will reach base for the 3rd time.
Well, Blue Jay fans have all the Fenway faithful up in arms now because they're chanting, "Let's go Blue Jays," and the fans don't know whether to boo the Red Sox or boo the Blue Jay fans.
Dwight Smith Jr. will come up again. Came on for the injured Kevin Pillar. And again, the news, and Arash gave this to us a little bit earlier.
But I don't know what it was.
No, a right sternoclavicular joint injury.
Probably collarbone, some kind of shoulder collarbone injury, but he landed on his right shoulder, making that terrific diving catch on the play that eventually ended up as a double play in the 3rd inning.
It is the joint between the sternum and the clavicle. You can see him reach up around his right shoulder, maybe a little bit towards his neck after making that sensational catch. Something the Blue Jays haven't had to contemplate very often in recent years is what do they do if Kevin Pillar gets hurt? He's played through injuries, but he hasn't been knocked out of the lineup very often at all. Here's the catch. It's the right shoulder that he rolled on, and watch him make the throw. And maybe he did that just to get rid of the ball quickly, but then just that little, the reach, the stretch, and he was in the dugout down the stairs and gone in a hurry.
Kevin Pillar played through broken fingers a couple of years ago. He just taped them together and played through it, but he did have to yield to that thumb injury he had a couple of years ago.
We've talked about it a lot. When you're a 32nd round pick and nobody's handed you anything, you don't want to come out of the lineup for any reason. So Grichuk moved into center field. Smith came into the game, went to right field. And if Pillar were sidelined for any period of time, Grichuk could ably take over in center field. He's played quite a bit of center field in his time with the St. Louis Cardinals, most of it 2 years ago, I believe. Started over 100 games one year in center for the Cardinals. Runner at first, 2 down, 2-1 Blue Jays in the 8th. And the 1-2.
Well, he's having another good at bat. He's able to lay off that hard breaking ball. And, you know, like John Gibbons was saying earlier, each time you see Dwight Smith Jr., you go, wow, this guy's a little bit better than I thought. And now he's getting some key hits against big league pitching. People are starting to pay a little more attention to Dwight Smith Jr.
Full count. So Morales will be on the move on the pitch, with Grichuk waiting on deck. There goes the runner. And it's ball 4. How about that? Smith will draw a walk. And now Morales will be lifted for a pinch runner. Curtis Granderson is on his way into the game.
Yeah, we had mentioned that possibility earlier. And now Granderson is not leaving, but because the pitching coach is out, he's going to go over and have a chat with Luis Rivera. Dana Lavangi is out to talk to Matt Barnes, who's given up back-to-back 2-out walks here in the 8th. Again, more concerns for the Red Sox with their late inning relief corps.
It's funny, you can win 10 of your last 11, and it was 10 in a row until last night, have the best record in baseball, and you get legitimate concerns.
Yeah. You know, there are no perfect teams, and we look at the Astros, you look at the Red Sox, the Yankees, they all have needs, they all have concerns. The Yankees need a starter, maybe 2. The Astros need a closer. Seattle's in the mix. They need some help as well. Cleveland needs bullpen help across the board. Oakland, all of a sudden Oakland's kind of played themselves into the picture a little bit.
They have, yeah.
Oakland, they're 11 games over 500.
And in the National League, they all need something.
Yeah. You look at San Francisco and Colorado, they're 3.5 back, tied in the NL West, but they're all in the hunt. Milwaukee and Chicago are tied in the Central. And Washington, Atlanta, and Philadelphia are all within 6.5 games.
Here's Randall Grichuk, 2 on, 2 out, 2 on Blue Jays. Granderson, the pinch runner at second, Smith's at first. Grichuk today singled high off the monster, and it was called out at second. He actually beat the throw from left field, but his foot skipped off the bag after it got there. And with the tag being applied continuously, he was called out when his foot lost contact with the base. He's since popped up and grounded out. A challenge there by 97 and got beat by Barnes. Strike 3 called. To the bottom of the 8th, the Blue Jays up 2-1. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Cliff Floyd in the Samsung broadcast studio. Relief a couple of nights ago, and now on to try to hang on to this 1-run lead and get it to Clippard, presumably in the 9th.
Biagini was really good in that outing on Thursday night. He threw just 22 pitches to go 2 1/3, didn't allow a hit, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 2. Since he has moved back to the bullpen, he's gotten better and better with each outing. As his confidence is back, he's pounding that strike zone with that good 2-seam fastball, and his curveball is very effective for him working out of the bullpen. But the biggest key for Biagini coming in relief, strike 1 with that fastball.
10 of his last 11 appearances have been scoreless. Tzu-Wei Lin leads off the bottom of the 8th inning. And it does make you wonder if it's more than just a day off for Mitch Moreland that he's not pinch hitting here.
Yeah, and you know what? We didn't see anything during the course of the game, but he did not start on Thursday, came in defensively on Thursday in the 9th inning. He played yesterday, got a couple of hits, got 1 hit in a 1-for-4 effort with a walk. There's the curveball, and a good one. So they are down Pierce. Now they're obviously down Moreland. Pierce ran today prior to the game, but he was limping a bit. I watched him run, and he's not ready to come back after getting hit by Jay Happ.
The 0-2 from Biagini. Swing and a miss with a fastball away. 1 down.
Beauty Tone is the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays, only available at Home Hardware. Here's how.
Well, so now this gets really interesting here in Boston in a one-run game in the bottom of the 8th, and Biagini has to face Mookie Betts. 2 for 2 and an intentional walk today, 7 for 10 in the series, leading the majors in OPS. Strike one.
And just to add a little more fuel to that fire, he is 8 for 14 against Biagini. A couple of home runs.
If you want to look at it another way, the law of averages suggests
he's due to make an out.
He's got to make an out at some point.
He is due to make an out.
Yeah. Blue Jays fans starting the chant again. Curveball in the dirt, 2 balls and a strike.
Well, you can see how well Betts is tracking the baseball. I mean, he never even offered that curveball. It was a ball out of Biagini's hands, and he knew it all the way. He's locked in right now.
Down and in, 3 balls and a strike.
He really presents a problem because he can hit it out of the ballpark. He can hit an extra base hit, and if you walk him, he can steal the base. It's a challenge of the talented Mookie Betts. He can beat you in many different ways.
And in this situation, one-run game, he'd be likely to try, although you want to make sure JD Martinez gets to the plate if you're Alex Cora. Diving stop, Solarte. Throw to first, skips past Smoke. Boy, a great stop by Solarte. Just couldn't get the throw there on the fly, and Betts is at second.
Solarte did a terrific job of gloving it, but when he goes in to grab the ball to throw it, he got a fistful of glove and never got a real good grip on the baseball. It'll be a hit for Betts and an air charge to Solarte. You can see he never had a real good grip on that ball, and he handcuffed Smoke with that ball that skipped off Smokey's glove into the dugout.
So a hit and an error, and the tying runs at second with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th for Brock Holt with JD Martinez on deck. Holt is 0 for 3. And 0 for 6 in his career against Biagini.
Again, the speed of Betts at second is really a concern for the Blue Jays. Aledmus Diaz, the shortstop, has to shadow him to make sure he doesn't get a huge lead should there be a base hit, or get a huge lead to steal third. So you kind of take Diaz out of his defensive positioning, and Brock Holt can really handle the bat. He can hit that ball to the left side of the infield.
There he goes. Got a huge jump, and there's no throw.
Boy, he guessed right with Biagini. Joe never looked back at him, and he took off. There was no contest. If he takes one more look, Betts is in no man's land between second and third. But that's his 17th steal, and he gauged it perfectly. Biagini never looked back. What a player. He can beat you in so many ways.
Infield has to come in now for the Blue Jays. Holt hurt the Blue Jays in this kind of a situation here at Fenway earlier this year, chopping the ball to left field. The Blue Jays really playing him around to the opposite field in the outfield. Teoscar Hernandez is way over towards the line, and Grichuk, the center fielder, well over to left center.
Yeah, look how far he is toward the line, because they know full well that Holt will do anything just to put the bat on the ball. He hit it in that direction.
Tying run 90 feet away with a 1 out in the 8th inning. Just missed, if it did at all. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I would be surprised if the Red Sox play the contact play here if Holt hits it on the ground with JD Martinez on deck. I don't think you're going to start Mookie Betts on a ground ball unless it goes through.
Set and the 2-2 and a swing and a ground ball to second. Contact play not on. Play made by Gurriel for the second out. Now let me ask you a question. You never put the, now this isn't the winning run, it's the go-ahead run. If it's the 8th inning, you never intentionally walk the go-ahead run this late in the game, as you get another look at Betts sizing it up but not coming home. Mailey to the mound. Here comes Pete Walker. The guy on deck's a really good hitter too in Xander Bogaerts, but do you consider putting JD Martinez on in this situation?
Well, I think that's what Walker's doing right here. He's talking to Biagini and Mailey. He said, okay, here's our situation. We can pitch to JD Martinez, and we have talked about this throughout the series. The Blue Jays feel confident they can get Martinez out upstairs, but that's not Biagini's strength. His strength is downstairs into the wheelhouse of JD Martinez. So I think they're going to say, okay, let's throw him some breaking balls and see how he reacts, and if we get behind him, we'll walk him. But I don't know that you could just walk him, because Xander Bogaerts, he's got 58 RBIs behind him.
Yep.
But
Biagini in a big spot.
Pete Walker had a clear thought on his mind, and he wanted to take all of the responsibility away from Biagini and say, here's what I want you to do. And now Joe just has to execute that plan.
He's homered already today.
Another pitch up. And it's really interesting because we've talked about this a lot with the Blue Jays, and Biagini, he will throw that two-seam fastball upstairs, and he can command it upstairs.
He got it in there too on Martinez. Didn't let him get his arms extended.
So now what you hope is Martinez kind of yields to that, comes off of that, looks for the pitch inside, and becomes vulnerable to his breaking ball. Boy, he got away with one there. That's where Martinez is so dangerous. Out over the heart of the plate, down. Sometimes you make mistakes and you get away with them. But watch where Mailey is set up. He wants it inside, and this ball is right out over the inner half of the plate, and they're lucky they get that one back.
0-2. Do they quote-unquote waste one, try to get Martinez to chase?
I think you throw him a good hard breaking ball here, down and away. Fastball upstairs.
Did not go.
Pete Walker is very confident that his pitching staff can get a lot of outs upstairs all the way across the strike zone.
But as you've said on a number of occasions in this series, you can't miss to JD Martinez.
But you can miss up more than you can miss down.
Tying run at third. Got him. A cutter away, swung through by Martinez, and how about the job by Joe Biagini? Getting more and more responsibility with each outing and delivering now for the Blue Jays. He strikes out the major league leader in home runs, and the Blue Jays still have the lead.
9th, Robert Wickens 10th. Hinchcliffe, of course, coming off the win in Iowa. The Honda Indy Toronto goes 3 Eastern, noon Pacific tomorrow on Sportsnet 360 and City.
Arash, thank you. Top of the 9th inning. Blue Jays up 2-1. New pitcher for Boston, right-hander Brandon Workman.
Brandon Workman worked in game 1. He threw just a third of an inning, gave up a hit, but then was able to get out of the inning without any damage. He gave up a single to Devin Travis and got Solarte to the lineup. Only 2 batters he faced.
Aledmus Diaz, who drove in a run on a ground out back in the 2-run 7th inning, leads off the 9th. He'll be followed by Luke Maile and then Lourdes Gurriel Jr. And meanwhile, the Blue Jays bullpen, it looks like Tyler Clippard will get an opportunity here. Pitched the 9th yesterday, the 13-7 win, a much different kind of ball game here today. Blue Jays would love to tack on a little bit here if they can in the top of the 9th. Bouncing ball to third. To his left is Lynn. 1 down. Marcus Stroman on the mound tomorrow afternoon in the final game before the All-Star break. The Red Sox have not formally announced their starter yet, but it appears it's going to be Brian Johnson, able to come off the DL. Stroman will look to finish up this part of the season on a high note. 12:30 pregame, 1:05 first pitch.
Marcus was good his last time out against Atlanta. 15 ground ball outs over 7 innings, allowed a run on 6 hits, and struck out 5. You know what, we talked about it at the start of this series. It's so easy for the Blue Jays to come in here, and they lost the first game, and you say, oh well, they're better than us. Let's think about the All-Star break, but they haven't done that, and I think that's huge that they've come in here and shown a lot of grit.
Maile lifts one down the right field line. Betts coming over and running out of room.
As a manager this time of the year, you get concerned about your team and make sure they haven't lost their focus. Hey, you're playing an AL East rival. You want to make sure that you stay in the game. Here's Mookie Betts as he gets down to that fence, and there's a scramble behind him, but he wants to make sure everybody's okay. You guys all right back there?
You know, it's amazing. Everybody's scrambling for a baseball. When Mookie Betts is standing 2 feet away from them, they could turn around and say, hey Mookie, how you doing? And he was there talking. He could, you know, you got 5 seconds of Mookie Betts. Isn't that worth more than a baseball?
Well, they were oblivious. They didn't know he was there.
Maile has flat out, struck out, and walked. The walk playing a part in the 2-run 7th inning as well, immediately preceding the RBI single by Gurriel. That stands out as the difference right now. Go to first, and he went around. Maile steamed, didn't think he did, but he strikes out 2 down. Drive of the game brought to you by the Honda Checkered Flag event. Check out their all-star lineup.
In the 7th inning in a 1-run game, there are runners at the corners for Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who's hitting in the leadoff spot. He's had a great series to this point. He's already had 2 hits and then gets this go-ahead RBI base hit on a pitch up and away, and he hits it into right field. Well, what an at-bat for Gurriel. What a series he has had, as he has 7 hits in the 3 games so far. And he's the difference in this ball game so far this afternoon.
And you got to believe, all young players do, he'll have his ups and downs, he'll have his slumps, and you know, he's learning from his mistakes, but at this point I don't think he's going anywhere for the rest of the season.
Oh no, they're going to find out just where he is best suited to play in the field, where he's best suited to hit.
I mean, he's playing better now than he did the first time he was up. They sent him back down, and they thought, you know, maybe the game was moving a little bit too quickly for him. They needed to give him a breather, get him a little more experience at AAA, but I think he's more than met their expectations here the second time.
I mean, come into Fenway Park where you're playing the best team in the East, and you've got 7 hits in the first 3 games. And it's not like they're not paying attention to you. Plus the decoy he put on at second base with Diaz, the plays he's made, just thinking about trying to get Betts at home in the first inning of yesterday's game. I mean, there's a lot of good things he's doing, not only at the plate, but in the field. He's going to have to continue to learn how to lay off the breaking ball because he has a tendency to swing at borderline breaking pitches. Kind of like Teoscar we saw last year, and the adjustment he has made from last year to this on laying off those hard breaking balls.
And Workman gets him to win the top of the ninth. So here we go, 1-run game going to the bottom of the ninth at Fenway. Tyler Clippard jogging in from the bullpen.
Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
We are here in Boston, third game of 4 between the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. And Tyler Clippard trying to continue what's been a great run for the Blue Jay bullpen this series. They've given up just 1 earned run in 15 innings in the first 3 games to this point of this series. And now Clippard on trying to save it.
Well, he sure is, and what a job he has done taking over as the closer. 6 of 10 in save opportunities, and all of those weren't pitching in the 9th inning. He had some earlier in the season where he was pitching and may have given up a lead, and that was a blown save, but as a closer, he's done a nice job. But the Blue Jays, they have outpitched the Red Sox bullpen in this series to this point.
For the Red Sox, 4, 5, 6, Xander Bogaerts, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Eduardo Nunez. Bogaerts 0 for 3. And a strike. Well, you know, Clippard's been around long enough. He's been a closer at various points in his career. Had some good years doing that. With Washington, a 1-run lead at Fenway Park is not going to be intimidating to him. He might get you, he might not. But his heart rate's no different now than it is in any other appearance.
Yeah, he's got tremendous confidence in his ability. If he makes his pitches, he's going to get outs. He knows that. Clippard has pitched 14 times prior to this outing at Fenway Park. A .257 career average in this ballpark, and he has been through these situations in the past.
1-2 now the count on Bogaerts. We got Teoscar Hernandez just shy of the warning track at left. Grichuk straightaway in center. Smith at right. Solarte backed up and a step or 2 closer to the line at third. If you're going to beat him, they want to make you beat him with multiple hits. Want to keep away from an extra base hit if at all possible. The 1-2.
Dwight Smith Jr. is in right field as Pilar left the game earlier, and right field can be challenging late in the day here with that sun shining in your direction.
That is a fair ball into the left field corner. And Bogaerts aboard with a leadoff double here in the 9th inning.
Such a deep lineup. Danny Bogaerts gets his 26th double of the season. And he has not hit really well against Clippard in the past. Just 2 for 9 before this double. But that pitch stays right out over the heart of the plate, and he turns on it and gets exactly the type of hit you were hoping for in this one-run game. A leadoff double in the bottom of the 9th.
Jackie Bradley Jr. You wouldn't expect a bunt. It's hardly ever done anymore. The Red Sox have just 3 sacrifices on the season. We'll see how Alex Cora plays it. He does square and he bunts it foul.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they're bunting in this situation. You could let Jackie Bradley Jr. swing away and remind him to pull the ball on the right side of the infield, but he wasn't very comfortable squaring around. You could see that the way he went after it. We're talking to Blake Swihart on the bench about this inning and how it might unfold. But I'm surprised they asked Bradley to bunt on that first pitch.
He does not have a sacrifice this year. Solarte in on the grass, peeking at the plate, peeking at the runner at second. Bogaerts pretty good speed. Swings and lines a ball into right field, a base hit. And this is going to tie the game. Bobbled briefly by Smith, Bradley into second.
Jackie Bradley Jr. after showing bunt on the first pitch, he didn't have any intention of bunting at all. He just happened to poke it foul, and then he was all over that second pitch and rips it into right field, drives home Bogaerts. And then Dwight Smith Jr. kind of overran the ball in right, but he gets that pitch and he's pulling it all the way. He had that on his mind, and he pulls it into right field. And when there's the bobble in right, he heads into second base. So now, in the 9th inning with nobody out, the winning run is at second.
Clippard to face Eduardo Nunez. Believe it was scored a double all the way, not a single and an error, but either way, winning run at second with a nobody out in the bottom of the 9th. They're creeping in on the corners for the Blue Jays. Nunez, a big swing and a foul off.
Yeah, he's not going to bunt. He's a free swinger and a wild swinger. So Clippard can expand the zone in this situation, but Nunez presents such a challenge because he can hit pitches off the plate away into right field. He's a wild, aggressive swinger.
And most of the fans at Fenway standing right now as the Red Sox have tied it here in the bottom of the 9th. Couple of looks at the runner, and the 0-1's very high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Get down to the bottom of the lineup. Blake Swihart is on deck. Still nobody out, though. Back-to-back doubles. And the inning belongs to Clippard, however it ends. Nobody is up. Blue Jays took the lead with 2 in the 7th. We talked about how great the bullpen's been in the 3 games in this series. That's just the 2nd run they've allowed now in the 3 games here in Boston. But it was a costly one. Swing and a miss. 2-2. Man, you don't need to swing that hard in this situation.
No, he's very aggressive, and he will chase pitches out of the zone. Clippard, he can rack up some strikeouts. 53 strikeouts in 44 2/3, and that's what he needs in this situation. Strike out, pop up. You got to keep that runner from advancing.
Bradley, very good speed out at second. Foul back.
Again, we talked about body language of a hitter and what they're looking for. The way he was defensive on that fastball tells me he's looking for an off-speed pitch here with 2 strikes. Remember, we told you how good a team this Red Sox team is with 2 strikes. Their hitting coach, Tim Hires, has always said, hey, you got to give something up. So I think he's looking breaking ball here, and he's just going to fight off the fastball.
Got to be aware, obviously, Clippard known for the change and the splitter with 2 strikes. Clippard asked Maley to start the signs again.
No mistakes. So Maley's going to go out and they'll talk things over. They'll talk over signs. They'll talk over pitch selection. And Maley, of course, the Red Sox are notorious for their ability to relay location. They're just a good team. They do all those things.
I don't know, Buck, where they track the mound visits here on the scoreboard. I don't see it here at Fenway. I know it is at Rogers Center. Obviously, we don't see it here. But the Blue Jays are, I mean, it's the bottom of the 9th inning. You got to do what you got to do. But they've had a few mound visits today.
Yes.
There they are.
Yes, they have.
Thank you, Millsy.
They've had a few visits.
Yeah, so they're down to 2. But obviously, you got to use one in a key spot like this.
See, again, he didn't even offer that off-speed pitch. Looked like a splitter down and away. So I think he's keyed in on something off-speed, and he'll just try to fight off a fastball if he gets one.
Full count on Eduardo Nunez with Bradley out at second and nobody out. Pop back foul. A double to left for Bogarts, a double to right for Bradley.
Yeah, I think Clippard is so savvy on the mound that he has picked up on this, that Nunez is looking for something off speed, so he might be able to elevate a fastball and get him to swing and miss it. He has a pitch on his mind, and Maley hadn't offered it just yet, so Nunez asked for time. Didn't like the first sign, likes the second one.
3-2. Swing and a miss with that elevated fastball for the first out.
Yeah, and Tyler, he is so aware on the mound. He can see what Nunez had on his mind, so he throws a fastball up and out of the zone, and Nunez just trying to protect the plate is late because he was looking for an off-speed pitch to change up with the splitter throughout the entire at-bat.
So now Blake Swihart. The runner at second and 1 down. Bradley tying up his shoelace, I believe, out at second base. Swihart, the switch hitter, getting ready to step in. 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Shortstop Diaz playing right behind Bradley out at second base, trying to keep him as close as possible because Bradley can fly.
And he's not been thrown out stealing this year. He's 11 for 11.
If there were to be a base hit, the Blue Jays would have their hands full trying to throw him out at the plate. That's for sure.
Now, Teoscar has thrown very well all season long. In fact, he picked up an outfield assist in the 7th inning when he doubled up Swihart at first base. Had a terrific throw all the way to first base after he caught the fly ball in left.
Blocked by Maley, a ball and a strike.
It's that splitter in the dirt. Luke does a good job getting the glove down, blocking the 5-hole, and playing it off his chest protector. Don't want to give up 90 feet in this situation.
The 1-1. Popped up, foul, and back into the stands on the third base side. Clipper just trying to get out of this and get it to extra innings at this point. It's the best the Blue Jays can hope for. Red Sox trying to start a new winning streak after the Blue Jays ended their 10-gamer last night. Runner going. 1-2. Fouled off right side.
Boy, thank goodness that Swihart had 2 strikes on him, because Jackie Bradley got a running start at second. He had been jockeying off the base throughout this at bat, but this time Clippard never stops him, and he's got a walking lead, takes off, but with 2 strikes, Swihart has to protect the plate, and he fouls it up. The Red Sox are the best base stealing team in baseball as far as the percentages.
And even in raw numbers, lead the American League in steals. Not just a slugging team. Poked foul. Defensive swing there by Swihart.
Coming into this game, they had a success rate of 83.7 stealing bases. They just don't waste many run scoring opportunities by getting thrown out trying to steal.
One down, winning run at second. And a ball and 2 strikes. The count on Blake Swihart with Sandy Leon on deck. Another block by Mail.
And another splitter in the dirt. That one hit in front of home plate, and as a catcher you just don't know where that ball's going to bounce, so you have to just go down on your knees, be as relaxed as possible, and kind of kill that ball with your chest protector.
Clippard at 21 pitches and counting. 3-2. Swinging a fly ball to center field. Grichuk circling towards it, makes the catch for the second out. Bradley stays at second.
Clippard's made some good pitches to the last 2 batters. After giving a back-to-back double, he struck out Nunez and gets Swihart to fly out.
And now Maley's going to the mound again.
Pitch right on the outside corner. All Swihart can do is just put a lazy swing on it. It's a lazy fly ball to center.
The batter is Sandy Leon. A base open. And Sue Lin, the scheduled next hitter.
Nobody's on deck.
Nobody there, yeah. Steve Pierce. Is that Pierce? Just popped out on the on-deck circle.
It is Pierce. If he gets a chance to hit, obviously not really concerned about him running.
Yep. So there's something going on with Moreland, obviously, and Pierce has been deemed well enough to at least pinch hit. Leon is 0 for 3. A .234 hitter on the season.
Been a long inning for Clippard. Not just in the raw pitch count numbers, but in the emotions of each pitch. There's Moreland, but there's something going on with him. Why they haven't sent him up to pinch hit a couple of times in this game.
2 down. Bradley the lead at second of the 1-1. A swing and a little number towards the left side. Solarte in time. And we're going to extra innings. The Red Sox tie it with back-to-back doubles to lead off the inning. Then Clippard gets the next 3 to the 10th at Fenway.
You can visit them at the Toronto Eaton Centre, Rogers Centre Gates 1 and 5, and every in-stadium kiosk or anytime at jaysshop.ca.
All right, Arash, thank you. We've got extra innings here at Fenway Park in Boston, and that brings us to Craig Kimbrell. The best the Red Sox have coming into the game. He did not work in last night's game, went an inning on Thursday night. Here he is in this 2-2 tie.
Well, and they bring him in because of where the Blue Jays are in their lineup. Solarte, Hernandez, and Smoke. Big bats in the order, so Kimbrell will make his 40th appearance, and look at those numbers. Glowing numbers indeed for the All-Star. 29 out of 31 in save opportunities. Opponents have hit just a $150 off Craig Kimbrell. He's a 2-pitch pitcher. He throws a terrific fastball, and he's got a hard curveball.
It'll be Solarte, Hernandez, and Smoke. 2, 3, 4 in the Blue Jay lineup. Here in the top of the 10th. Meanwhile, down in the Blue Jay bullpen, a guy just called up to the big leagues today. Saw him a little bit last year. Chris Rowley, who has been starting at Buffalo. They brought him in case Gaviglio needed help early. They got through 9 without needing to go for him, but it looks like now that it's going to extra innings, he'll be coming on.
Yeah, and he can pitch multiple innings, obviously, having been a starter down in AAA. So they'll give him plenty of time to get loose.
Solarte today's 0 for 4.
Excuse me, Dan. Of course, nobody hits Kimbrell very well, and you look at a lot of offers in the Blue Jays lineup against Craig Kimbrell. Look at that ball. He hit that one out of the ballpark over the Red Sox dugout. I haven't seen that very often.
That ball wasn't even close to being far enough down the line to be at first base. So maybe 50 feet from home plate. Hooked it, pulled it, however you want to say it. I don't know what you call that. Right out of the ballpark. Somebody walking out on the street just got the surprise of their day.
I've never seen one go out there.
1-2. Straight back. You see that a lot, of course.
Well, the Red Sox got a leadoff double to start the bottom of the 9th, and that's what the Blue Jays are hopeful of right now. Extra base hit, get a runner in scoring position right out of the chute. Hernandez and then Smoke to follow.
Two and 2, the count on Solarte. Curtis Granderson would be due up 4th here this inning. Remember, he came on as a pinch runner for Kendrys Morales, so he's in the Morales spot now. Smith much earlier for the injured Pilar. Solarte chases one down.
Kimbrel is so good at racking up the strikeouts in an extra inning game. Obviously, you don't want anybody to reach base, but that was a much tighter breaking ball down in the dirt.
And now Teoscar Hernandez. He's 0 for 3 with a walk today. You just got to commit so early to the fastball. It's got to be so hard to adjust to the curve.
Well, I think you have to pick one out and say, okay, I'm going to look for a breaking ball, look for a fastball. What it is, stick to your plan until you get to 2 strikes. Because you can't cover both of them.
Two.
Lots of run on that fastball. Looked like it started out over the heart of the plate and just took off up and away to Hernandez.
Lays off the curveball in the dirt on the appeal. No swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Aaron Loop has joined Chris Rowley. Well, Rowley's not going to go in and come out quickly. This could be, you got Lynn, Betts, Holt, lefty, righty, lefty. This could be Loop just to get you through those first 3 batters and then get Rowley in there. They just want to make sure Rowley's loose, so they got him up early because he needs a lot of time to warm up. Just a guess.
That would be an interesting situation. I mean, if you're going to start Rowley and you hope you have him pitch multiple innings, I think you just got to turn him loose and let him start the inning.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to have Loop come in and then bring Rowley in with possible base runner on the first batter he faces, Mookie Betts.
I got to believe Loop's coming in, though, or he wouldn't be up.
Well, he sure looks like it, doesn't he?
And a swing and a miss for the second out.
This is what Kimbrel does. Kimbrel's in his 9th season in the majors. He's got 320 saves. This is obviously not a save situation, but boy, he's got a lot of experience. His ERA career is 180, and he gets another strikeout. But he has been racking up the strikeouts for his career. Coming into this game, 830 strikeouts in 509 innings.
Well, let's see if Justin Smoke can time up one of those fastballs like he's been doing a lot recently. And a good cut at it.
Smoke has a home run against Kimbrel. He's 2 for 7. So he got 1 pitch to hit, and Kimbrel is wise enough to say, okay, I'm not going to give you another pitch to hit. And because he throws so hard that Smoke has to get the bat going.
Right on the outside corner, but it's 0-2.
99 miles an hour.
You're thinking about closers in the game. Who would you pick if you only had one guy to save Game 7 of the World Series? This guy's right near the top of the list. Maybe
Now,
at the top of the list.
Since Mariano Rivera is retired, I'll go with Kimbrel.
He's a workout for a catcher, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he bounces that breaking ball a lot. But at the same time, that breaking ball will lead to a lot of strikeouts.
Yep. A little extra padding maybe in the mitt for Sandy Leon, catching the fastball and then having to block all the breaking balls. And the 1-2.
It'll be interesting to see if Kimbrel throws Smoke another fastball in the strike zone. I don't think he will. I think he'll try to get him out with a breaking ball or a fastball out of the strike zone. I don't think he'll challenge him with a fastball. As good as his fastball is, he's watched how Smoke is squaring it up now. A slider in the dirt. Smoke's going so good right now that he's pretty confident he can wait back and doesn't have to get over aggressive. Now it's 3-2. Again, I don't think he'll throw him a fastball in the zone even though it's a full count.
Curtis Granderson's on deck, hoping for a shot. 3-2 on Justin Smoak.
Right on the outside corner. He's got good command too. He knows where he can throw it. But we've talked about Smoak and his strength. His strength is down. Lefty or righty. He's a very good low ball hitter.
Another 3-2. And down low with the off-speed pitch for ball 4. Didn't go on the appeal, and the Blue Jays have a base runner with 2 down here in the 10th inning, and that'll get Curtis Granderson to the plate, and Devin Travis is coming out to run for Smoak. So this is John Gibbons saying he hopes if Granderson can hit a gapper that they can score Travis from first, whereas Smoak wouldn't be able to.
Granderson hit a home run off of Kimbrel earlier in the season. Kimbrel missed with the first 2 fastballs. Granderson looked for a fastball, got it inside, and hit it out of the ballpark. That was at Rogers Center. It was a walk-off home run on April 24th. Bottom of the 10th inning at Rogers Center. It was a 2-0 fastball. Granderson said he missed with the first 2 fastballs. I had to believe I was going to get a fastball, and he squared it up. One of just 5 home runs that Kimbrel has surrendered this season.
The swing and a fly ball to right field, not deep. A bit of a late break for Mookie Betts, but he's there. And that's all for the Blue Jays in the top of the 10th. No runs, no hits. They leave a man. We go bottom 10. And who will it be? Going to be Rowley. Loup sat back down. Rowley will make his first big league appearance with the Blue Jays this season when we come back. Travis pinch ran for Smoak. Yangervis Solarte will move across the infield from third to first. Devin Travis will stay in the game at second base. He kind of pieced this one together as we continue here. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. moves from second to short, and Aledmus Diaz moves from short to third. So the versatility the Blue Jays have on the infield is coming into play right now. But the focus is on the mound, where Chris Rowley just summoned to the big leagues today in a just-in-case kind of situation. Maybe not the just-in-case they were thinking about it, but here he is in the 10th.
He is in the 10th. This will be his 3rd career appearance against the Red Sox. There's some irony to this appearance, as he was the losing pitcher in the 19th inning game on September 5th last year.
A bunt foul by Tzu-Wei Lin.
Rowley came in to pitch 3 innings in that game, and he was charged with the loss as the Red Sox won it in 19 innings. Hanley Ramirez had an RBI single to center that scored Mookie Betts, who had doubled to start the bottom of the 19th.
Five and 6 with a 3.45 ERA and 16 starts at Buffalo. There's a ground ball pulled down to first. Fair ball. Solarte has it. And tippy toes to the bag for the first out. And they're not booing.
No, they're not. What a day he has had. Mookie Betts is 3 for 3. He's also been walked intentionally. He has 3 singles and a stolen base.
Makes him 8 for 11 in the series. Rowley not an overpowering guy at all. And a ground ball to short, and it gets right through Gurriel.
Boy, oh boy, there was not a more routine ground ball, but Gurriel gets his feet too close together. Watch where his feet are. He doesn't get separation of his feet. His feet are too close together, and that ball goes right between him, and it's just right through the wickets. That's a routine ground ball. He never got the glove down, and he can't believe he missed it. But boy, what a break that is for Betts and the Red Sox.
So the winning run is at first with 1 out in the bottom of the 10th. Betts with a stolen base already today, 17 on the season. Holt the batter. What a potentially costly error there. And will Alex Cora put some pressure on and send Mookie Betts? Not here. Ball 2.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. If Betts takes off, who's going to have the coverage? Because I think they're going to have Travis cover the second baseman, because Brock is more likely to hit the ball towards short than he is to pull it towards second.
And a strike, 2-1. Do something. This count is the kind of count you often put something on, whether it's a hit and run or straight steal. Everybody looking over to Carlos Fabulous, the third base coach. JD Martinez looming in the on deck circle. There he goes. 2-1 and a swing, and he hits it to the left side, just as you said, Buck. That's what Brock Holt does. But the Blue Jays had Gurriel cover, and Holt hit it exactly where the vacated spot was.
Yeah, man, he can handle that so well. I just thought that they would have Travis covering and guard against that ball at shortstop, and he just messed up the strategy. Gurriel breaks to cover. They had given him the opportunity to cover. And yeah, you could say, well, it's a left-handed hitter, and you expect him to pull. Not Brock Holt. Not in this situation with the game on the line. He's going to go with the percentages, and he hit the ball right on the ground to the shortstop, which could have been a double play.
And almost always you pick the opposite field side, not the pull side, but Brock Holt is one of those guys who does that all the time. The Blue Jays have already intentionally walked JD Martinez to load the bases. So they have set up a force at the plate, winning run at third, bases loaded, 1 out, and here's Xander Bogaerts.
Bogaerts faced Rowley in the 17th inning game of that game last September and lined out to the shortstop. Infield is in. Of course, they have to go home.
And Betts at third with really good speed in case there's a fly ball. So pressure on everyone defensively right now. Inside, ball 1. All of this set up by the ball that got through Gurriel's legs. Should have been 2 outs, nobody on, and Holt coming to the plate.
Yep.
Ball 2. Nowhere to put him.
Yeah, and Bogaerts is so good. Selective at the plate. Waiting for the ball that he can drive at least to the outfield. He knows that he has the upper hand in this situation. Doesn't have to chase anything.
Center field and plenty deep enough, whatever happens here, and it's gone. Walk-off grand slam. Xander Bogaerts. Third grand slam this season for Xander Bogaerts, the 4th of his career. And the Red Sox make the Blue Jay. They didn't make him pay for their mistakes last night. They made him pay today.
Well, they sure did. It was a routine ground ball that went right through the legs of Gurriel at shortstop for the air. It could have been nobody on, 2 outs, and it's a totally different story. When the Red Sox get opportunities, that's the 9th grand slam they have hit this season. A terrific ball club with a balanced lineup, and unfortunately for Chris Rowley, the play wasn't made at shortstop, and that started a terrible inning for the Red Sox.
One more look, Xander Bogaerts. Belt tie down the middle. It was game over one way or another. It was just a question of what it would be, and it was a celebration for the Red Sox.